Working. Triumph of love. Bells are ringing. One more time. Working. Just in case you're listening on 2x speed. Working. Triumph of love. Bells are ringing. Keep that in mind, okay? Today, we have Rob W. Schneider on, okay? Now, Rob W. Schneider just wrote a book that's very popular in the streets called Queer Musicals. Let's bring it back. Working. Triumph of love. Bells are ringing. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Are those musicals queer? Are they queer musicals? No. Rob W. Schneider also runs J2 Theater Spotlight. J2 Theater Spotlight has become popular in the city for reviving a bunch of musicals that are lesser known, and bringing them to new audiences. Now you get it. I'm pitching to you. Rob just left the studio, and I decided that now while he's watching this podcast, that's what I'm going to make my pitch to him for what I think will be a perfect J2 Theater Spotlight season. Working, Triumph of Love, and Bells are ringing. Be crazy. Well, I should have started the podcast, honestly, by telling you that was the season, that was the 2026 season for J2 Theater Spotlight. But no, we do get that here, and that info is public knowledge now, but we do get that here. What J2's season is, and it's incredibly exciting. All right. And Rob is also heading out to direct Frozen at A.C.T. We get to talking about that. We get to talking about his directorial beginnings, where he was an assistant director on Sweeney Todd. He was assisting Lonnie Price. Okay, who's become his mentor, whose mentor was Hal Prince, who he got to meet. So he tells us some great Hal Prince and Sondheim stories, which are just like, I will never get tired of Hal Prince and Sondheim stories. Those are the best. Those are two people that I wish I could have been in the same room with, let alone have met and gotten to spend some time with. And Rob did, which is really beautiful. And those stories are just like everything. And now he's the artistic director of J2 Theater Spotlight, which I mentioned earlier. And they have a great upcoming season coming up. You might have seen their production of The Baker's Wife before the classic stage company's Baker's Wife that's happening now. You might have seen his production of Lucky Stiff or Smile, which I'll call her girlfriend of the podcast. Kirsten was in this spring, and also Chris Kyer was in, which we talked about on his episode a couple months ago. Smile, they just did Zorba, Drat the Cat. That was their 2025 season. And they did Woman of the Year. I mean, like, Awesome Seesaw was their first show a couple years back. So, and J2 always doing really cool work, and they were at Theater Row, and now they're at AMT Theater. We get to talking about that, and we focus on this book, Queer Musicals, which is a part of the Essential Musical series. And what's really interesting about this book is that it takes this objective stance on a part of history that isn't as discussed. And I got to reading the book, and I learned so much about shows that I didn't even know existed, let alone their impact on musical theater as a whole. So I think for that, it's really special, and there's some gems in there. And the way that Rob describes it is, like I mentioned to him, like, there's no fat in this book. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing chewy about it. It's very it describes the history from a personable perspective, so it doesn't feel like a textbook per se, but also tells you the reason why he chose some of these musicals that are very specifically curated for this book, and chosen with a perspective on the queer history that's in there. And I think that's really resonant and special. So I highly suggest getting that book. And it's out now, all on online bookstores, Drama Bookshop, all your bookstores. It's available. Queer Musicals, written by Rob W. Schneider. I think he's such an interesting guy. He's a theater historian as well as a director, working all over the place. And I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's very, very clever and knows so much about this lovely theater industry that we love so much. So we were so lucky to have him on. We're so grateful to have him on. And I think you're going to get a lot out of this episode. I say that all the time, but I really do. I think that this episode it's one of my favorite ones we've done. It's a 3-hour extravaganza, and we get to talking about Leroy Reams, who was a former guest of ours, who's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. And the book is dedicated to Leroy. And he says this thing in the book that I thought was really special and it really resonated with me, was to Leroy Reams, dedicated to Leroy Reams, who was out before it was in. So that's a really special thing too. And we love Leroy. We love Rob as well. And I know that you will too. So today, I want to be like Rob W. Schneider. I want to be like you. 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 You.
When you had Leroy on, how many breaks did you have? I'm surprised he's still not here talking.
I know. He was.
Fucking love that man.
It was. Are you good to roll? Because we can talk about it.
Sorry, guys.
No. Let's talk about it on the podcast.
You got it.
Are you rolling?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, great. Leroy Reams. He.
Yes.
He was the greatest. He's still to date our longest episode, and probably will be our longest episode. And you know what? Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It is such like a. It feels like now like this like. Pocket of like I went through Leroy's entire everything, and we kind of just hung out, and he probably went an extra, what would you say, 45 minutes that he couldn't tell us on air.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So are you recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
amazing. Okay,
yeah.
I want to tell you a story really quickly.
Okay, good.
So I have a podcast, or I had a podcast. It was called Behind the Curtain.
Right.
We went out and interviewed people. First person we ever interviewed was Leroy.
Oh, really?
And so we're like, we'll come to your house and we'll interview you. It'll be like 90 minutes or something, right?
Right.
We get there at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I swear to God, at midnight, he says, and that's how I booked Sweet Charity. And we're like, we've been here for like 6 fucking... Wait,
oh my God.
What kind of language? We're like, we've been here for 6 fucking hours? And he's just to his first Broadway show. It was incredible, though. He takes you on this big old journey. And then the best is, like, as soon as it ended, his husband came in with a martini shaker.
Oh.
And was like, time for cocktails. We were there till like 3 a.m.
Incredible.
He's the best.
He is the greatest, and he's one of those people where, you know, a lot of we're constantly in contact with performers and actors, but there's something about Leroy where when he talks, he has you right here in the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Through and through. And I'm sure you've seen his show, 54.
Oh my God, yes. Many times.
Unbelievable. I just think it's like, it had me stomach laughing. And then at the end, like, I was sobbing.
He's had such a great life.
It's unbelievable.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so like courageous. I mean, he was openly out for like 50 plus years or something.
Unbelievable.
But he's worked with everybody. Like everybody and his mother he's worked with. It's incredible.
And it's funny because we spent probably something like 4.5 hours with him, and we never got to really chat about his husband.
Oh, Bob.
Who he had been with for, decades.
Bob was one of the original Mad Men. Did he tell you that?
No.
So Bob's job was he was a marketing guy on Fifth Avenue.
Wow.
Like in the Mad Men era. And when Matthew Weiner, I think that's who created Mad Men, when they started the series, they reached out to Bob.
No
and they
way.
were like, can you come in and like give us advice? Like, is this authentic?
As a consultant.
As a consultant and stuff. Bob was the best.
Wow.
Bob was the best. He was the funniest guy, always drinking. Always, he like you watch Mad Men and you're like, they couldn't have had that much to drink during life. No, Bob could put it away.
Wow.
I love Bob. Bob was the best.
Yeah, so like so it was when I saw his show, it was like, it felt like a whole nother side of him that we hadn't even explored. And we had spent so much time with him.
Yeah.
And so, I so much love for Leroy Reams. And we're going to talk about him a little bit later because your book is dedicated to Leroy.
It is, because I love him.
So we start the podcast with the same question every time, and it is, who was your I Want to Be? Oh, well, we should start. Hold on. Welcome to I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. Today, I want to be like Rob W Schneider.
I'm really sorry if you do. We got to get you some better role models.
No. So let's ask that question. I want to be like you. Who was your I want to be like you when you were a kid?
Oh, Hal Prince, the director Hal Prince. Yeah, I really wanted to be Hal Prince.
How young?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like I knew what I wanted to do like when I was 12 or 13.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had acted and I grew up in LA and I did like film and TV and stuff in LA, but like my heart was always in theater.
Sure.
And like, I don't know, like I really enjoyed the idea of, getting to control the whole picture, not just your acting role.
Right.
And I don't know, there was something about Hal Prince that I just really loved, like his visual style and the way he worked with actors and stuff.
How did you get to know who he was?
Oh, I grew up at a time of libraries. Do you remember those? Do you remember those?
Passively. There were some, I think I've seen one in a movie.
I've seen one at the Museum of Natural History, and that's about it. And so I would go to the library like every weekend, and I would just go to like the drama section.
Yeah.
And I would just pull stuff off the shelf, and I would just start reading. And he was the one that like everybody kept talking about. Like, he's the genius, he's the smart guy. And then I read interviews with him, and I'm like, oh my God, he seems so cool.
Right.
And just loves the art form.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be like him.
Oh, I love that.
I love it.
A certain amount of time, there was like more shows that were really famous that he had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And not.
Yeah.
His name was always going to be the producer, director.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And like a nice guy, like a generous guy, like beyond belief. And I don't know, I was like, I don't know if you like experience this, like when you're working and stuff, but a lot of people in the business, like on that side of the table, can sometimes be jerks.
Sure.
And be like real assholes and stuff. And he wasn't.
Right.
Like he went above and beyond to make people feel good.
And in the same breath, though, what I admire about Hal Prince and everything I've watched of his is that he doesn't. Like he was honest as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was never putting on a facade either.
No.
Because I've heard so many stories about Hal that are like very stark.
Yes.
You know? And they're not. None of them are rude or they're just who he was. He was honest. You know, and
it's like cold and factual. You know, but not him.
Right.
He would meet with anybody.
Yeah.
Like if you like reached out to his office and you're like, hey, I'm a director, I'm new to the city, he'd bring you in, he'd sit you down, he would talk to you, he'd give you advice.
Wow.
He was doing that until the day he died.
I wish I had known about Hal Prince when I was 12 years old.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because just
you probably had friends who weren't at the library all the time.
Yes,
so
right,
that's
exactly.
why
Exactly. I should have spent more time in the library.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't get to know who Hal Prince was until like college age.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even get into musicals until like I was like 16 or so.
What got you into musicals?
I think for me, we were doing children's theater. We started doing children's. I was doing theater in Tribeca. We were in a children's theater in Tribeca that was doing plays, and we were doing improv shows and stuff like that at like 9 years old. It's really cool.
A 9-year-old improv.
I know.
I would love to see that.
We did. I'll tell you what, Rob.
You're probably good.
I'll tell you what. We
Probably
did
very
a
good.
production that was a faux production of Dance Moms. That was really solid.
Is that true?
It was so. It was very cool. We essentially like set up scenes over the course of like 8 to 9 weeks, and we were like doing a parody of Dance Moms that was improvised, but it was like, and the way, and honestly, I'm like, this should exist in musical theater in like a way as like we did like a mockumentary version of it, but in theater. And I feel like, you see like The Office, Modern Family, like all
Absolutely.
these documentaries, and I'm like, there's something to that in theater that I've never really seen before, where it's like, and it's simple. You just yeah, right. We were innovative. No, but we would do the scene, and it would be like, whatever, like you tell me to do something, you're Abby Lee and blah 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 blah, and then I would walk off to the lip of the stage and be like, she's such a jerk. And like things like that.
That's funny.
So it was really funny. Yeah. Anyway, I did that, and then we started doing musical theater on Staten Island. And
Staten Island.
What was the first musical we ever did, or at least I ever did, was Beauty and the Beast. Well, you were in it too. You were 5. But you were in it.
Who were you in Beauty and the Beast?
Ooh, I was such a little.
You were like one of the ensembles.
Ensemble?
Semi-fork. You weren't even a full fork. You're probably like half a fork. Yeah.
Half a fork, like a spork or something.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like a teaspoon.
Yeah. Like an off-brand fork. Yeah, right. Exactly.
How come there's not a bidet in Beauty and the Beast? You ever think of that?
That's such a good point.
Because it would be in the castle.
There's probably, maybe not. Though.
I don't know. I don't know. It's things I think
bidets
about.
are probably a little bit after the medieval era that Beauty and the Beast is in.
I don't know.
But you're onto the right. If there was in this new revival that's a little bit more contemporary, there's probably room for one.
Absolutely. You know what? Representation.
And
Let's get the bidet in.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like, who do you send? Like, it's probably like the Toby in the Office equivalent that you would make the bidet. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, exactly right.
like
You've got a
that would be
vision.
that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
You're so groundbreaking.
Listen.
Who were you in Beauty and the Beast?
I was Monsieur Dark.
Who's that?
Oh, come on.
Who's that?
What is the line?
Is that like one of the salt shakers?
From the mob? No, the mob song. He'll wreak havoc on our village if we let him wander free.
That was you?
That was the line. Yeah, I think that was the line. And it's like he's like Gaston. He works at the asylum, and Gaston hires him to like take Maurice away because I like run the asylum.
Why weren't you Gaston? Is
was
that a tough topic?
No,
Is it tough?
Yeah, I was like 11. It was probably my first musical. Yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
I did put baby powder in my hair. It was like just gray enough, and I was just menacing enough that you couldn't hear my line. So
Did you do that thing with the eyebrow pencil to give yourself wrinkles and shit?
I wasn't that advanced. No.
Ah,
That would have
that's
been
my
cool
favorite.
though. That would have been cool. It was a big house too. It was for what it's worth.
Congrats, man.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, and we revived it last. It was my first show I did at the Children's Theater, and it was also my last show that I did at Children's, and I was Gaston in that.
There we go.
Full circle.
You had
Exactly.
to wait. You had to wait for the
Exactly.
moment. Is that on your
Exactly
resume
right.
that's on the back
Yes,
of the clipboard?
right. Yeah. So the reason why my resume is on the back of my clipboard is because I'm actually a big. It's like this like it's a meticulous thing of mine. I don't like wasting paper. So if this is actually like not a good resume. This is like it's like not printed all the way. It's
see
like
here.
there's like little errors,
He
They're
played
like,
Ted in Holiday Inn, Friends, just so you're aware.
yeah,
And
in case.
he did
That's
the
what we
wor-
brought you here for, Rob. Is to read my resume.
Yeah, he also, if you're concerned, he did play Dick and Mackie in the workshop of Dorothy at the Apples and Oranges Arts. And
I don't think anyone's asking about that.
well, I don't know. And he's got, listen, valid driver's license and a boating license.
I do have a boating license.
Tell me about that. It's your interview now. Welcome to Rob's show.
Wow.
We're here with
This
Elbi.
is what happens when you bring someone on who hosts podcasts as well.
No, this is great. Producer, host of the podcast, I Want to Be Like You. My name is not listed, by the way. He's listed 4 names. I'm not one of them. Tell me about playing Sunny and In the Heights.
Sunny Heights.
Did you have a good time doing that?
Yes, actually, yes. It was a blast. It was that is the one people latch onto, I think. But anyway, this is, you see how it's like half printed out, so it printed out.
I see.
It printed out crappy, and I just don't like wasting paper.
I write on everything. Like, I'll write all the way down, and then I'll like turn it around and like write again and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just feel like any piece of paper that I waste is just like, it like breaks me. So
I get that.
Yeah, I know, it's just like a meticulous thing.
How come you don't do it like on your phone or like an iPad or something?
I'm an analog person.
Same.
I can't
You
do
need that
digital.
pen.
I don't retain information, and also it doesn't stick with me the same. Even when I have sides, like I was at an audition this morning where they couldn't give us the sides until it was our time, but you could take a picture of the sides. And so I know. It's an equity thing. But so it is. They couldn't give us the sides, but we could take a picture of.
We
the
don't
sides.
want this material out there of a show nobody's ever going to see.
We're
we're very protective of it. Very protective.
But it was like, I wanted the physical thing. It wasn't until I got the physical paper in my hand that I could really focus. Off my phone, it was like, whatever. But, anyway, what was I going to say in regards to Hal? In regards to Hal Prince, there was something
Prince,
I was going to say that. Did you ever get to meet him?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, he was
So you
lovely.
did ask him to.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Oh my God. Much later in life. This was much later in life because I was assisting a guy he had mentored, Lonnie Price.
Lonnie Price.
Yeah.
Of course.
The great.
I was going to ask you about that.
Oh my God. The best. Like,
unbelievable.
I got so lucky. I had the best mentors. I hate that. I sound like Trump. Like, I had the best mentor. No, Lonnie was the best. But Hal had mentored Lonnie. And so Lonnie introduced me to Hal Prince, and then I got to meet him that way. So I was like maybe in my early 30s.
I don't even think that makes sense that Hal, mentored Lonnie because merrily, but I didn't even put two together. That's so nice. So what did you meet him like in passing, or did you like get to
both? It was an in passing at Prince of Broadway, the show. Like that was like his review and stuff. And then I went to his office.
Oh, really?
And we had like a 2-hour chat. And
what did you guys chat about?
Oh my God, he would go through and he would show you like all the photos on the wall and be like, this is me with Richard Rogers and that's me and Steve. And you're like, oh, Mr. Sondheim. Okay, cool.
Wow.
But just like his views on the theater and like what made a good director and what made a good producer and like where he thought theater was going. But he was so like excited by young people.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I was that young at the time, but he loved people that were just like coming up. He loved that. And he loved nurturing.
What do you
and
think?
supporting.
What did he think made a good director or / producer?
He said being, I'm trying to think of like some of the things he said. I'm going to misquote him, so I won't be like verbatim or anything like that. But just this idea of like taking chances and making yourself happy. Like he's like, don't worry about what the audience is gonna think or what the audience is gonna say. He's like, create what you want to create, and then the hope is that it's good enough that they'll follow along. And I think he's right. Like one of the things, I don't know if you feel this way, but like one of the things that makes me a little sad is like all the shows that are really original on Broadway right now are doing really well for themselves. Things like, we'll go back, Hamilton, or like. I know it's closed now, but like Come From Away or like any of those shows that were somewhat original, those are the ones that are the most successful.
So I look at Maybe Happy Ending.
Oh, Maybe Happy Ending. That's a great example. Like I wish producers understood, hey, listen, take a chance on this stuff because it's probably going to pay off for you more in the long run than like, here's our, musical version of some movie from 2015.
Well, you wrote this in your book and Rob wrote a book.
I haven't read it yet, but I wrote it. So tell me if it's good.
Yeah, it is good. And Rob wrote a book called Queer Musicals, and it's out now. And in reading it, there's this moment where you talk about how when there's an original thing that comes to Broadway, right?
Yeah.
This original musical comes to Broadway. If it's successful, it fosters a bunch of duplicates.
Yes.
Right? If it's not, we pretend one, like it never happened, and two, we'll never do it again.
Yeah, exactly. It's true though.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like people get so scared from it,
Right.
which is like one of the shows we talk about in Queer Musicals is a show called The Knife.
The Knife, yeah.
Which was the first musical to have a transgender character like front and center. And it failed. And since then, we have not had a trans character as like the lead, like the lead of a story
where
of
it was
a
the
musical.
centered around it.
Yeah.
That show starred Mandy Patinkin.
It did.
By the way.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was at the Public. But it's just like, and that was probably the only show, that and Boy Meets Boy were the only shows
Good.
on the list that I didn't know
Good.
at all.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
everything
that.
Everything else I'd either heard of or knew very well.
Love it.
But, or had seen. But yeah, no, I thought that was such an interesting thing because it does ring true where you go like, and I'll tell you what, and this is in no remiss, but even if you look at the Maybe Happy Ending thing, a lot of it has stirred up, and this is a good thing, is like a lot of Korean musicals are being looked at from a completely different lens.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
But if the strangest thing is that if Maybe Happy Ending wasn't as successful as it was, which look, thank God it is.
Yeah.
But if it hadn't been, we wouldn't even, like, I feel like people wouldn't have even looked at Korean musicals anymore because they would have just like poo-pooed it or just missed it.
Oh, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do. They go, oh, yeah, well, we tried it once on this Korean show. Nobody wants to see it. It's like saying if a love story doesn't work.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, we never want to see a love story again. No, it's just this one didn't. Just give it another chance.
And the only thing that they have in common is that they're a love story. The only thing that they have in common is that they're a Korean musical or that they have a transgender lead. But the music is different and the style is different and all of these other things. And yet, we kind of pinpoint that. So I think that's interesting. And that's such an interesting point about kind of following your vision rather than worrying about the perception of others.
Absolutely. Because I mean, like, create it and like I don't know, like when you're creating this show and stuff, you're interviewing people that you want to interview. Right. You're interviewing people that you like, that you want to talk to.
Right.
You could go for people that are like, I don't know, on like Good Morning America or like, shit like that.
Sure,
but
yeah.
It's like, I want to talk to Leroy Reams. I want to talk to Michelle Palk.
Right.
Like, that's great.
Right.
And then people will follow you.
Right. And I'll tell you honestly, is like sometimes when we were doing this, we probably shot something like 10 episodes before we released any. And then there was probably a good chunk where after we were releasing, we were gaining traction, whatever. And now that like there have been certain TikToks that have caught on, there was a moment probably around this summer where I had gotten caught up a little bit in like the TikTok creation of it all. I had to really take myself out of that because I would think I was, it's not that, and it was very subconscious, but there would be moments where I wasn't able to be as present because I was thinking about how things would clip or how things would remember, So yeah, it's just like a little interesting thing where you really do have to remove the idea. I have to remove the fact that in theory right now, we should have hundreds of thousands of people listening to our conversation and then just sit here and have a conversation with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. But it's healthy. Like if it's making you happy, others will follow.
Right.
And if they don't, they don't.
And then it's authentic.
But at least you're happy. You did what you wanted to do.
Right. And fulfilled that vision.
Have you had a moment yet where someone's approached you and said, we want to be on the show, and you were like, oh no. You don't have to obviously say besides me, but has there ever been anybody that you're like, oh God, I don't want them on the show?
I don't think so.
You'll get there. I'm sure you will. No, seriously. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that everything takes like research and everything takes like a moment for me to really like digest why we would have. Maybe we have had some people who have been like, oh, I'm not sure. Or, oh, give me some time or things like that. But not yet, at least.
Yeah.
No one that I've been like, oh no.
But everyone that you've had in this chair so far is somebody that you wanted to have, that you wanted to talk to.
Right.
That's the best thing you can do.
Right.
That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And at the very least, there's probably an instance about almost everyone that I want to chat with. There's I don't know, like there's something about everyone that I'll be like, oh, I want to ask you a question here.
Yeah. And
maybe it's just that the podcast is not the best way to do it. I'll tell you honestly, and not to go there, but I will go there. It's like I met Curtis Lewa in the train station, right? And what an interesting guy, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And while maybe not someone that I would want on the podcast, someone that I'm like, I have questions for you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? However, I feel like if I had you on the podcast and it would create a whole nother thing, and that's when you start to think about the perception.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, then it becomes something a little different.
But you go like, God, this guy is like, he's just like this New York staple. You know?
Oh, I would love to talk to him. Did you see him at the debate when they were like, how do you get around if you can't get like a subway or something? And he's like, I don't go to the yellow cabs. I was shot in a yellow cab
yes, yeah, of course.
by the mafia. And you're like, who are you?
He's
like, what is your story?
It feels feels like he's been shot everywhere. I mean, like it's like or shot at.
Oh yeah, this guy's had it.
He's
had it.
Yeah, and and it was crazy because it was in the middle of the mayoral run, but he was on the train station, and I'm like, gosh, like, God bless you. You know what I mean?
I also love his like jaunty red beret.
Yes, I know.
Like he's an extra in Les Mis or something.
But you'll find pictures of him.
It's great.
You'll find pictures of him at like 17, 18 years old. First of all, he's barely aged. Like he's just like his hair has just turned white.
Yeah.
But he's been doing this Guardian Angels things since way before I've been around. You know what I mean? Like,
he was doing it before I was around.
Yeah.
But like I would speak to my folks and stuff. They loved him.
Right.
Because nobody else was cleaning up the city, and he was going in protecting everybody. And now, obviously, I think
there's a different association.
Yes,
with
now it's different.
Politics,
Now it's different.
It's
different.
But when you remove the politics from it, what he was doing as like the Guardian Angels was like a different, and I'm sure there's other controversies on it, but it's just like it was just a funny thing because I'd met him and I thought to myself, gosh, I think I would like to talk to you, but maybe not within this space.
Yes, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Maybe like over.
What's your favorite
drinks
Broadway
or
show, Curtis?
Yeah, I bet you he's got some good ones.
He probably has. He's probably seen some like really funky weird.
He loves Javert. Like that's what I imagine. Like he really has a soft spot for Javert.
Yeah.
He's like, I get it.
I'm trying to think about like maybe he likes like Bullets Over Broadway or something.
Oh yeah, that
like
would be something.
You know?
What if it's something like nobody was expecting?
Yeah,
Like maybe he loved Illinois.
Yeah.
He loves a dance piece.
Yeah.
He loves a dance
that's
piece.
That's great. Yeah. I wonder
Mean
if he's
Girls.
ever met Hal Prince. Yeah, Mean Girls.
He worked for Hal Prince, I'm sure, at some point.
Hal Prince tried to shoot him.
Hal Prince,
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness.
Hal Prince
Not
went to
again.
shoot him in a cab.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's talk about so that's funny that you in researching Hal Prince that's how directorial beginnings.
Yeah.
What was the first show that you remember directing?
Oh my gosh, the first show I ever directed was a Neil Simon play in high school. I was like 15 years old, 16 years old. Yeah. My drama teacher was like having a baby, and he's like, I'm not going to direct a show this semester. And I was like, fuck it, I am.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll do it. Like, if you can't do it, I'll do it. And so we found some Neil Simon play called Plaza Suite, which was on Broadway a couple of years ago with Matthew Broderick, Sarah Jessica Parker, SJP and MB, the two of them. God love that couple.
And it was in West End. It was just in the West End this year.
And it was just in the West End, yeah. And so I directed it in high school, and I was like, this feels right. Like being behind the table.
What did you like about it?
I don't want to say the control.
Sure.
Because that sounds like so fucked up.
Sure.
But just like this idea of, I love collaboration. And I love like fostering collaboration in people and creativity in people.
Right.
So like, what question's going to get a response, or like what note is going to make that person be better at their job.
Right.
I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Right.
It was like addicting.
What do you think like you wound up going to college and did you know that directing was what you were going to do in college too?
Yeah.
You did?
Oh yeah.
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 So
I had seen the show since I was like 3 years old.
Yeah.
So like for me, I was like, this is natural.
Well, what theater were you seeing in LA? Were you seeing theater in LA?
Bad theater in LA. Sorry, is anyone from LA? I apologize.
No,
You guys from
I've
LA?
never
Okay,
even been.
great.
I really would like to go, but I've never been.
The theater scene out there is shit.
Sure.
Sorry.
You mentioned that in the book.
Yeah. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like when you come to New York, you're like, oh my gosh, everybody here that is in theater, they want to be in theater. Right. Like they want to do it. And in LA, it was, I can't get booked for a film and TV show.
Yeah.
So I'll do this.
This is my second.
Yeah. Or like I don't want to say washed up. That doesn't sound right. But like, they don't have a career anymore. Do you know what I mean? So it was, everyone was like transient. It was like, I'm doing this to kill time.
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, this is just, and you could see it, like you could sense it. Yeah, like when you're watching shows and shit, like you were like, nobody wants to be here. They don't want to be here. The audience doesn't want to be here.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure there is good theater out there. I just never found it.
Like I'm sure like the touring houses and stuff. And
Well, that was the thing. Like the touring houses would come in from like New York shows, and they'd be fantastic. Right. But it was like the local indigenous shows where you were like, these are Los Angeles citizens. Nobody wanted to be there.
Huh. That's interesting. Because then you look at like, I look at like the Old Globe or La Jolla.
Oh,
those
they're
aren't
different.
LA.
But they're great.
Those aren't LA. That's like California.
Yeah.
That's different, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never been, and therefore I don't know much about.
Oh shit, man!
Scene,
it was like all this bad, and it was always Shakespeare. It was always Shakespeare because you didn't have to pay royalties for it.
Right, of course, yeah.
So it was Shakespeare and it was free, and you'd go and you'd be like, your friend would be like, oh, I'm going to do, Romeo and Juliet at some park in Santa Monica after the cops leave. So, go in under the gate, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Sure.
To sit here and watch bad Shakespeare.
That's funny. So then, what would you say? But I'm like, you're directing Plaza Suite, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what would you say was the biggest thing that you took away from college when it came to directing? Because I feel like, I think about this. I always. Something you'll realize about me when I'm asking a question, there's like 7 pieces to the question.
I love it.
But the famous, like, when people enter from stage right, it's more natural and because so for those who don't know, like if you set up a character entrance from stage right, the audience is viewing it from left to right, and since we read left to right is a more common a more common way of seeing things, and so oftentimes villains or things that are surprises come from stage left, therefore house right, because they're more of a surprise, right? Little tricks like that, that feels like a common trick. Little tricks like that, I'm like, I've always wanted to know, what are things like that? What are
Oh my God. I actually learned a lot of that in grad school.
Did you?
Yeah, in grad school. I had an amazing grad school mentor. She she taught me everything. Like the nuts and the bolts. And like, I remember I did a show and there was a ghost. And they came through, they opened a door and they came through, and she was like, stop. I said, what? She goes, ghosts don't come through doors. She goes, it's impossible. Right. Find a more creative way of doing it. So it was shit like that, or like hold for a laugh, or if the actors cry, the audience won't cry.
Yeah.
The big thing I think I took away that I still hold with me to this day, and I think a lot of people are forgetting it now, is like, you're telling a story. Yeah. We're storytellers, which means somebody out there has to receive information. And a lot of shows right now feel like very, I don't want to say like masturbatory. That doesn't sound right. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like the actor's doing it for themselves, and the director's doing it for himself, and the writer's doing it for himself. I'm like, there's a fucking audience here.
Right.
Like, you have to, it's for them.
Right.
You're telling a story. You're not like feeling it. Let them feel. Let them experience.
Yeah.
So that's something I still take with me to this day.
Yeah. I love that.
It's something that what we were talking about with Jerry, where it was like the positive choice of that. And if you want to explain it with that.
We were talking about with Jerry. We had Jerry Zaks on recently.
Oh, Jerry was the best.
He's the best.
I learned so much from Jerry.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Play the positive.
That's what we were talking
Always.
about. Make the positive choice.
Always.
Why though? Because when you're playing the character kind of okay with being sad, or just swimming in it. Sadness, and you kind of just get the audience being like, okay, cool.
There's a loathing there that's like,
like, you're not giving me a chance to do it. I want to do it. So, but if you want something good to happen, if that's why you're feeling sad, is because you need that. Now it's giving the audience, what do they need?
Exactly. And you want an audience to like lean forward. And if this character is just wallowing, going, my life's over, then what am I leaning forward for?
Right.
You've given up.
Right.
I can't encourage you, but Jerry's so good at that. The idea, what is it, like, preserve the protection of happiness, or the possibility of happiness at all times? Is that what he said?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, make the positive choice is what I like boil it down to.
Yeah, he always said you preserve you protect happiness at all costs. So instead of playing like the negative of a line, you find a positive way of doing it. Did he tell you the Guys and Dolls analogy that he did?
No, I don't think so.
With Nathan Lane?
Maybe. I don't think
There's this great scene in Guys and Dolls where it's their anniversary. He's forgotten it's their anniversary.
Adelaide, when we first meet Adelaide.
She's like, I got you a gift, and she says, she goes, and don't worry, you didn't have to get me anything. And the line is, well, don't worry, I didn't. And Nathan Lane did it and played it ashamed. Like, I did it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm apologizing. He goes, what are you doing? He's like, play the positive. The positive is she should be happy that you followed her instructions. You should be happy. I didn't get you anything because I knew you were going to say that. And it gets a huge laugh.
Of course.
And that's what he's talking about.
Right.
Like, how do you find that line and twist it in a way that makes it positive?
Right.
Because then the audience roots. Then the audience goes, oh my God. Like, now there's something interesting here.
Right.
As opposed to like the predictability of it.
Yeah. That's so...
huge. God, Jesus. Jerry Zaks was great.
Yeah, he's
Jerry Zaks. And then Joe Mantello, I learned transitions.
Yeah.
how to transition.
Oh, well, I mean, hello. Have you seen any Joe Mantello project that is like, I mean, have you seen Little Bear Bridge Road yet?
No, not yet, but I'm going
Talk
to.
about, I mean, everything is super, like, nothing dies. There's never a moment of, like, you know, I shouldn't say stillness. There's plenty of moments of stillness, but there's never a moment of, like, that you feel bored.
No, and that was Hal's thing, because I was talking to Hal about it, and he said that when he was doing shows, audiences then were so trained on movies that they would not tolerate we stop. And we change the set. You know, he's like, audiences now are so fluid. And as soon as you stop them for anything, they've disengaged from the play. So if you look at a lot of like Hal's shows or Jerry Zach's shows or Susan Stroman shows, there's always something happening.
Yeah.
Even moving the set feels like we're getting story information we haven't gotten previously.
Yeah.
So no, I like grabbed onto those golden nuggets.
We talked about that. It's funny. Like in New York, I thought like talk about a moment where there was never a dull moment, because in the middle of them changing the set, there's some beautiful ballet sequence.
Yeah. And that's great.
Yeah. Any way you could fill that.
If it was the 40s or 50s, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The curtain would come down. You'd hear clunk, clunk, clunk in the background. The curtain would come back up again. And then you'd see whatever the next scene was.
Yeah.
But audiences now, you can't stop it. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
Unless it's for a specific purpose. Like, did you see Oedipus yet?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
It's crazy.
Have you seen Oedipus yet?
He didn't see it. I saw
man.
it. I saw it a couple weeks ago.
It's so good. I don't want to give anything away, but at the end, there's a blackout for like 30 seconds or so.
Yes.
And then the lights come back up again.
Right.
But it's intentional.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a specific reason
Before
why
the
it's
epilogue.
happening. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so if you can use it in a creative way, go for it.
And frankly, even that moment, there's a transition in Oedipus towards the end of it, and in that moment, we're not sitting in darkness or nothing.
No.
There's a huge thing actually happening.
Yes.
It's just not visual.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's great. So anyway, so I picked up shit like that.
Yeah.
So I could be more eloquent about it, but like,
I love that. That's awesome. I was gonna ask you, what was the first Broadway show that you saw?
Lacage. I was 3 years old.
No way.
Yeah. My family took me to see Lacage when I was 3.
Wow.
They were still shocked when I came out. I don't know why. I was like, it's like I don't.
Did they think
like,
that was the reason why?
It's like, guys, this is your doing. We didn't go see Starlight Express. We didn't go see Les Mis.
We could have.
You took me to Lacage.
What would have happened if you? I
could have been a French revolutionary.
I was going to say, would you have been a French revolutionary?
Me and Curtis would be at the barricades together.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's what would have been happening. So what can you do?
Yeah,
that was the first one.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good first show. That's crazy.
And I loved it. I love shows. I love theater.
Yeah. Were you temperamental? I mean, you were 3.
Was I temperamental?
Yeah. Were you crying? Like, I mean, like it's like
no.
That's a 2.5 hour.
No, man. They brought me to a show like every weekend.
Oh, really?
And I always remember like I would sit down and like the old people would sit next to me and they'd be like, "Oh fuck," you know what I mean? It's a kid,
right?
They loved it. They were like, "Oh my god, we've never seen a kid so bad." I was enthralled.
Wow. Yeah,
I was enthralled. Like, why would I fuss? Why would I cry? I loved that.
That's funny.
What was the first show you saw?
Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
What, are you kidding me?
Moving on.
Did you see that? Was that yours too?
That was our first show. Yeah.
You both saw Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
It's not the first time we're talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah. And it's worth talking about because I brought up the theater in Tribeca that we the woman who ran that theater taught Reeve Carney.
Okay.
And so she had Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark plastered all over. It was like when we were taking class, I was like 9 years old. Like that's when Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark was like all over. And so she had it. And so I was like, on top of the fact that it was Spider-Man, I need to see this show.
Sure.
For what it's worth, I said this, it's like 9 years old. Spider-Man comes from the stage into the mezzanine. There was nothing cooler.
Yeah.
There was nothing cooler. So I wasn't sitting here thinking about whether or not there were true rhymes or, who was, but what I was...
You and me both, man. No, seriously, because sometimes you're like, I don't know. Do you go to theater with people and they get really critical?
Yeah.
Like they go in looking for something to hate.
Sure.
I can't stand those people.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I don't give a shit. Am I enjoying myself?
There was this pure time right after the pandemic where it didn't matter what I saw. It lasted seriously for probably like a year and a half after the pandemic, like well into 2023. Didn't matter what I saw. I was just so enthralled and happy to be there.
Yes.
That I was not... Any critic brain removed.
Yeah.
I loved every show I saw from September 2021 to 2023 unabashedly because I was just happy to be back in a theater.
What was the show that broke you?
I I don't know. I really don't remember. I just remember seeing anything and being excited about it. I don't remember what was the show that I was like, all right, that had like
it has to be something really bad.
I honestly don't know. Or maybe I just got accustomed to it.
Yeah.
And maybe what it was, maybe what it was too is like now, even like look at now, right? I have a notes app, right? And on my notes app, I have shows that I want to see, and I keep this notes app so that I don't forget before shows close.
Yeah.
So like right now, one of them is like the Seat of Our Pants. Like I really want to make sure I catch that at the public.
Yeah.
And it closes December 7th, so I put it on like a priority list so that I don't miss it before it closes, or try not to.
Do they give you press tickets?
Sometimes, yeah.
Good.
Sometimes, yes.
Good. They
sometimes.
should.
And so, and we're very grateful for them. But so I have a priority list so that I don't forget or I don't miss it. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot to see.
Yeah.
Right. Like now, I have 10 shows on that list that are happening right now.
Good.
I only keep the ones that are the ones that are gonna open. I don't write down.
Yeah.
I only keep the ones that are currently on that I can currently catch that I know. And at the time, I maybe had a consistency of like 2 because there just wasn't as much, right? We can only produce so much. So I think maybe once there became like an abundance of them, I got more accustomed to like regular life and like, oh, theater's back.
Yes.
But for that year and a half, whatever I caught, I was
the best.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in the theater seeing a bad show than not in the theater at all.
It's true.
Really, I really would.
I really do believe that, and I feel that way about workshops. I feel that way about like
Same.
Especially if it's something new, especially if it's something new. So yeah, Lacage, that's great. I love that first Broadway show. When did you move to the city?
Oh my gosh, I moved here about 20 years ago.
Okay,
gotcha. About 20 years ago.
And what was the goal? Did you know somebody that you were like, or you just going in blind?
To work.
Yeah.
That was the goal, was to work.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere without like having something lined up.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'm not. Can you do that? Are you guys adventurous like that? If you are, God bless you.
I'd like to be, but also I know that I wouldn't be able to handle it for very long.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Likewise, I don't think. No way. Not anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
I could try it. I could definitely try it and make my way, but it wouldn't be like enjoyable for me.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. My partner, he can do it. He can like just like go off to somewhere random and be like, I'm like, I can't. That's just
funny.
not me.
Kind of the director's brain, like going into a rehearsal as a director with that mindset, you're gonna end up really like.
Oh, I've seen directors like
you don't know the answers to because you didn't think about it.
That's the worst fucking feeling, by the way, is when an actor asks or somebody asks you a question when you're directing and you're like, I don't know the answer to this. Like,
well,
oh shit.
Here's my question. I've heard people say before that like, as a director, you can't say the words "I don't know." Do you believe that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I should have said I don't know. No, honestly, the worst directors I ever worked with were the people that did not know and acted like they did.
Right.
Because I was like, you're lying. First of all, you're lying. That's number one. And everybody here knows it. And everyone now has lost respect for you. But if you were honest and you just said, I don't know, we all respect that. So I have no problem saying to an actor or a designer, like, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Let's try it. Because also it's play. Nothing's permanent.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we don't have to have an answer now.
Right.
What do you think? Sometimes I pivot the question right back.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, what do you think it should be?
Right.
Just what's on your mind. It's like, what are we?
Yeah.
What are we? Because a lot of the times, I mean, I was in rehearsal recently, and I'm the kid who's like he's never been asked the question before.
Yeah.
What's on your mind? What are you thinking? And it just like exploded with ideas that I never read before.
So
I never
cool.
had that sort of perspective. I was like, honestly, this is valid. I would say speak up more.
Yes.
In other rehearsals, because you're not coming up with BS here, man. You're onto something.
Yes, that's what you want. You want them all to like take ownership. And if I give you the answer, it's not ownership. There are times where you will ask me a question and I will know exactly what I want, but I never want it to feel like I told you what it was.
Oh,
I want you to feel like you discovered it.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you own it. Then you are proud of that. And it's harder for me to try to get that out of your mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So no, I think you by all means say I don't know. And I fucking hated it when I acted and a director so clearly did not know, but pretended like they did.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we bullshitting? Just be honest. Who cares?
Right.
It's
Especially because, frankly, your decisions do resemble the truth.
Yes.
You know, and if the truth of the thing is you don't know, I'm gonna see it.
I'm gonna
be able to tell.
Well, okay, go ahead. Sorry. No.
It's like any relationship, romantic or anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you bullshit.
Yes, I'm gonna call your bullshit.
You don't know what you're talking about.
But also, and here's the thing, I'm like, isn't our job like to be able to like tell the truth as like actor, and like we're supposed to, you see a performance, you go, that's not a good performance. Why? Well, he's not really a good actor. Well, what makes him not a good actor? Well, he's not really living truthfully under a So our job is to sense the truth at all times.
Right.
So if you're lying to me, I'm going to be very hypersensitive to that.
Yeah.
All you got to say is, I don't know. I have no problem with I don't know.
Yeah.
Really don't.
Yeah. I love that. Let's talk about what was the first show that you remember directing. Like, how did you get your feet wet when it came to direction in the city, especially coming in?
Oh man, I got so lucky. I moved to the city, and I moved to the city like much older than most people do, because I was going back and forth between here and Pennsylvania for work. Oh. And then finally I turned 30. And I was like, I can't fucking live in Pennsylvania anymore. Wow. Like, no offense, I love Pennsylvania, but I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to come up to the city. I had a job waiting for me, a teaching job. And I was like, how the hell do I start directing? Because I'm not 22, and I'm not like, oh God, I don't want to say that. That sounds horrible. I'll say it anyway. I'm not some like twink that like can like knock on people's doors. I looked like an adult. I looked like a man. Do you know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
That sounds horrible, but like if you're young and you're like optimistic, a lot of doors open. Sure. That wasn't me. I was older and I came with experience. And so I was like, I need like a two-pronged attack. I was like, I need a mentor, and I need a way to get myself in front of people. And so I got lucky. Lonnie Price became my mentor. And Lonnie, for those of you who don't know, Lonnie, yes, he was in the original Merrily We Roll Along. He was in the Muppets Take Manhattan. He's genius in Muppets Take Manhattan. But he ended up, I mean, he's directed so much stuff, like The Company with Neil Patrick Harris on PBS. Okay. So
most recently, the West Side Story International Tour.
Yes. Oh my
Peter
God, he's
Pan
done everything.
National Tour. Yeah.
He's done everything. Yeah. He's done absolute Audra, Lady Day. He directed that.
Oh,
you know?
Wow. Oh, that one I didn't know about.
Yeah, he did everything. So anyway, he was doing Sweeney Todd at Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson was going to be Mrs. Lovett. Audra was going to be the beggar woman. Christian Borle was Pirelli. Like, I mean, it was like a stacked cast. I mean, it was really stacked. And he needed an assistant. And I went in and I interviewed with him. And I was like, even if I don't get this job, just getting to hang out with him was so cool, because he treats you so. If you can get him on this show,
oh, I would love it. He's actually a dream guest for us.
Oh my, let me know, please. He is the sweetest, kindest, nicest man. And I learned watching him like how a director behaves. Yeah, like how a director treats people, and he treats people with such kindness and such respect, even when they're being divas and shits. He treats them with the utmost kindness. Right. And I was like, fuck, I gotta do what he does. So I got lucky. I got him as a mentor.
Is that how you guys met?
Yeah.
You went in for that.
I went in for that interview.
Wow.
And he hired me. And it was.
How did you find that interview?
I'm a member of the Directors Union, the Stage Directors Union, and they have an observership program. Oh. And so like you apply, and you know they give you a couple of bucks, and you get to go, you know, assist on a show. And I applied, and Lonnie picked me, and after it was only supposed to be for the stage show. Month after the show closes, he calls me. He says, you know, we filmed it for PBS. He's like, I want you to come and watch how I edit it, so you can see how to edit for television. Wow. Yeah. And he didn't have to do that. And it was never me sitting there, him being like, oh, get me coffee now. It was like, let me show you why we went from camera 3 to camera 5 in that moment. Yeah. Or why we're going to, like, he explained everything to me. Right. And had no reason to. And I said, why do you do this? Why did you do this to me? And he said, I'll tell you. Hal did it for me. And George Abbott did it for Hal. And he's like, it's just part of the cycle. Wow. And so anytime I do a show now, I will never be as brilliant as any of those guys. I really won't. You never know. But I will always have like an assistant with me, because I'm like, it's about passing it on. Yeah. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
What I've seen of him with the Merrily documentary. You see, he's such a theater kid.
He is.
He's such a theater kid before that's now being so popular. There's so many options that you had. He kind of had the option of just these Sondheim CDs.
Yes, and to me, that's something that I've always loved about him, and something I hope I never lose. They love theater. Yeah, they love it. They still get. Have you had Casey Nicholaw on the show yet?
No, I would love to. I don't think he's in the country.
Oh, okay, great. If you get him, he will geek out with you about this show and that show. They love it. this guy's won a million Tony Awards. He's had 5 shows playing on Broadway at the same. He wants to sit around and talk about when he saw Cats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I never want to lose that. So that was one way, was getting the mentor. The other way was doing what you're doing, which was, I was like, how do I get in front of people without feeling creepy or without feeling like, why does this older person want, so I was like, what if I created a podcast?
Yeah.
This is when podcasts were like first coming out.
Right.
And I created a podcast called Behind the Curtain, Broadway's Living Legends.
Yeah.
Where we interviewed people who had been in the business 30 plus years.
Some amazing people too.
Oh, we got so lucky.
Didn't you have you had Nathan Lane on there?
We had
right?
Nathan Lane, we had Andre DeShields, we had Susan Stroman, Casey, Jerry, like all these people who had been in the business 30 plus years. But we also really focused on people that were like 70 and above. Because I was like, no one's asking them for their stories and they're going to get lost.
Right.
So we interviewed people who had worked in vaudeville. We interviewed a guy who was in the original Oklahoma on Broadway.
Who?
George S. Irving.
Wow.
Yeah. And
who was he in Oklahoma?
He was in the ensemble, but George won the Tony Award much later in life, but he had like 50 Broadway credits to his name. This guy had done
oh my gosh.
everything.
Wow.
So I was like, let me get in front of them, let me get their stories, but also it's a chance for me to introduce myself to these people. And then work started coming from that.
Wow.
Because somebody was like, oh my God, you said you were a director when you interviewed me and blah, blah, blah. Would you be willing to come help with this? Or would you be willing to do that?
That's amazing.
And so that's sort of how everything just started snowballing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I got lucky. I got very lucky.
And to start a podcast at a point where they really weren't.
Oh no! Nobody was doing theater podcasts really.
Right.
There was like maybe somebody was doing like a show where they would like sit around and they would review the shows. But I was like, why don't we talk to these people who like, what was it like being with Oscar Hammerstein? Like, what was it like getting directed by George Abbott?
Just the way of the times is like the more time goes by, the less stories we're gonna have like that.
And I also think it's important for like students. And I don't know if we were talking about this before we went on the air or after the air, but like Aaron was saying, like they never asked me anything, or like students don't ask me anything, or young people don't ask me anything.
Yeah.
I was like, these people have such a like to hear Andre DeShields talk about the fact like what he dealt with as a person of color in his college is still what people are dealing with as people of color in their colleges and their drama programs.
Sure.
Or to have these older ladies who were in their 80s being like, well, I got the show because the composer wanted to sleep with me. And they would tell a story about like the composer would be like, oh, come to my hotel room so I can play a song for you. And then they would just get chased around the piano. Or like if you were gay, like you can't come out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, these stories need to be preserved. Like we need to see what it was once like, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because you could have people over the age of 70 and tell you those stories, and you could have people under the age of 25 and tell you similar stories.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And what I find, what makes me feel good is like the person over 70, they tell you the story like, oh, that happened all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's so nonchalant. Like, oh yeah, I had to sleep with them to get the audition. And nowadays, somebody who's in their 20s will be like, and I reported them, and I did this, and
that's the good part.
Yeah.
Is that now a story like that from someone my age, we look at a story and go, oh my God.
Yes.
Whereas before that was been there, done that.
Oh yeah, they didn't blink an eye.
Crazy.
They would just be like, oh yeah, he used to try to sleep with me, and I would always say, oh, Mr. Berlin, I'm a married woman, or blah blah blah, and he didn't. Not Irving Berlin, somebody like that.
Yeah. No, I
that.
get what you mean. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, but it's also like a lot of people may attribute to their toughness, which maybe, but also that's just how it worked.
Yes, that was it.
Where it's like that's how it worked. There really wasn't like that was kind of the main way.
Yeah.
So why not just do it?
There's almost like some sort of strange like if you did that, then that means you're on to the big leagues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was no HR back then. You know what I mean? There was no social media or anything like that. So I mean, the fact that these people had to do it is crazy. Men and women, both of them. Yeah. And what's interesting is that when you hear an older person hearing a young person telling that story, going, oh, this guy tried to sleep with me. You see the older person sometimes being like, well, why would you say no?
Right.
Or like, why would you cause trouble? You could have had a Broadway show. It's such a. But I think that should be preserved. I think those stories should be preserved so future generations can go, holy shit, it really was that bad at some point.
Right.
Also, so we know what not to do.
And what not to do. Yeah. What not to do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's super special, and also the podcast that is, and also like getting. Are you still in contact with Lonnie?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. I try to stay in contact with all of these wonderful people.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Like I've been given a gift why would I squander it?
Right.
Why would I not be like, how you doing? What's going on? What are you working on?
Right.
I'm when I was a kid growing up, like in my bedroom, like at 12 or 13 in LA, and like rocking out to like Merrily We Roll Along.
Yeah.
Like if you had told me, oh yeah, and by the way, years later, that guy's you're not only gonna know him, he's gonna be your friend.
Yeah.
Mine would have been blown.
Right.
It's still a gift. I try never to take that for granted.
Right.
Never take, and I hate using people. I hate being like, oh yeah, I need you for this. And then as soon as you give it to me, bye-bye.
Yeah,
I can't do that shit.
There's some I really don't like that idea either. And there's been like this thing. There's this negative connotation when it comes to networking that like and listen, I've been at events or things like that are networking events, right? And you go and you talk with people and you chat for whatever reason, you connect about something.
Yeah.
Now, when we say connect, I don't mean like rub elbows, just rub. I mean like let's talk about exactly that. Let's sit and have did you just see this? Yeah, I just saw that. Blah blah blah. Whatever. And then you'll hear it from other people that's like, oh, I saw what you were doing over there. And you're like,
oh yeah,
what was I doing over there? And it's like, well, I know you were trying to like. No. The idea of like trying to network bugs me because I'm like, I'm never actually trying to network as much as I'm just trying to connect with someone or tell them that I appreciate them.
Yes. And I think that's important. Like networking to me is like you talk to somebody, they're high profile, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a good time talking to them. Networking then to me is I'm going to still keep talking to them because they're going to get me something.
Yeah, sure.
That's when it gets icky to me. It's intentional. That's when it gets icky. But like to go up to somebody that you're like, oh my God, I really admire your work and blah, blah, blah. And I just want to pass that on. If nothing comes of it, that's fine.
Right.
It's the other one where I'm like, oh, that is kind of
yeah,
sketchy.
exactly. What is your intention behind doing this?
Did you ever even like their work?
Right.
Oh shit, man. Yeah.
It
Because
just become like, why are you even doing it? If they weren't a high profile name, would you ever? There are certain people in shows that they're it's not even a high profile show. They just did a great job and come up with it.
Right.
Yes.
I see them.
Right.
Like, you were in that. Fantastic.
And I love
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
So
Right.
it kind of goes for both.
all I want to do is just give you a compliment.
Right.
That's all I want to do. If something comes out of it, awesome. But it's that shit. I used to do that actually when I first like came to the city. I was like, oh, I've got to meet with this director. I don't like their work. I don't like them as a person.
But I've got to.
And I did it, and I would be like, afterwards, I'd feel gross.
Yeah.
I would just feel like, why the fuck am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
I don't like them. They don't. Maybe they probably don't like me. Like,
But they don't know you, you
yeah.
know, and so then you're putting on something that's maybe not as authentic, and then you're never gonna walk out of that with like a positive result.
Yeah, and so it's like life's too short for that.
Yeah.
Life's too short. But I think it is important to tell people if you respect and admire their work that you respect and admire their work.
Right.
Just to express gratitude.
Right.
Not for anything else. If something else comes of it, amazing.
Right.
But that should never be your goal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of what our business is. It's so much as networking.
A lot of that is that, yeah, for sure. And also though, I think that you can't go with the expectations. I don't have people on the podcast with the expectation that they're going to get me something or get me
correct.
Get me someone. If it works out, that'd be great, you know. But I'm not just gonna be like, all right, you know what? I don't really want to have this person on, but if I do, they'll get me yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk to you, and I have things that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Right? So
And if you want things in the future, and that's the big thing too, where I'm like, even the things in the future, you want them because you like their work also.
Yes.
It's all for the same. You're not doing it because like, you're in the hypothetical world where you do get to work with that person.
Yes.
You get Lonnie, right?
Yeah.
That world, you still want to work with him.
Yes.
You still admire him.
Right.
You don't stop admiring him now because now you're working. You still have that admiration. That's the whole thing about don't meet your heroes. And I feel like this podcast has changed my mind about that.
For sure.
Because as long as I'm open to seeing them in a different light,
Yeah.
you start to love a different part.
And
Yeah.
maybe that phrase, the "don't meet your heroes" thing, is a little bit dated because I think a lot of people are forced to be a little bit more of their true selves in certain respects because you're being caught from every angle. You know, it's like yeah. It's like I think that some people when I hear there are times where people will be working on something or yada yada and they'll be like, yeah, you know, like I've worked with him, he's really not that great a guy, and I would be like, I could see that.
Yeah.
There's barely a time where they're like, I really heard he's not that great a guy. And I'm like, what? He seems like this. It really doesn't happen. Like, look at Hugh Jackman is such a great example where like everybody loves Hugh Jackman. You look at Hugh Jackman. Oh my gosh, you look up to Hugh Jackman. Everyone I know who's worked with Hugh Jackman is like, whatever you think he is, better.
Absolutely. It's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Like, you know, so, and that goes for so many, Bernadette.
Oh my God.
You know?
Theater people, I don't find it a lot in film and TV, but I find it in theater. in theater, like we've all done it. We've all had to paint the set. We've all had to clean the bathrooms. We've all had to do that. You know what I mean? So we have all been in the trenches, and some of us might get on Broadway, whatever. Film and TV, they don't do that. I don't know any film actor that's been told, today you're going to be the grip, and eventually you'll work up to being the actor.
Yeah.
So in film and TV, there is a very clear like pecking order, and a very clear like aloofness. I don't find that with theater people.
Right.
We're all very friendly with each other. We're all in the trenches. We're all like, I know what that was like.
Yeah. And let's talk about the humbling of humbling, right? I remember hearing this story. It's like, at the end of the day, no matter how big or whatever you are that you come to theater, you still got to deal with tech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when they call hold, you're going to have to stand there. And sometimes you can be standing there for a half hour. I remember hearing, I think it was Bartlett Share spoke about this one thing where he was like, we're doing this show, McNeil at Lincoln Center, and Robert Downey Jr. is not used to teching the show because he's not had to deal with like that whole aspect of it. And he's like, and he loved it. He was great with it, whatever. But there was an inevitable like impatience, like, why is this, what's going on? What's, whatever. And it doesn't matter. Robert Downey Jr., or I remember seeing Mr. Saturday Night and watching Billy Crystal take off his own chair. And I was like, Billy Crystal just took off his own chair.
Yes. Yeah, it's the best. There's something about it that just like levels everybody in the best way possible.
Billy Crystal's not removing his own chair in a movie or a TV show, man.
But I love that. Never meet your heroes. That's interesting.
It's such an interesting, like, I don't know.
I think it's because like you have an idea of what they should be.
Maybe.
And as soon as they show that they're human, then you go, oh shit, I don't want that anymore.
Maybe.
Like you're ruining my ideal version of you.
Yeah, maybe that.
But I think it's like what you said. You appreciate a different side of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I don't like to hear even Sondheim stories necessarily about his personal life. I just don't, not I don't like to hear it. I don't care. I'm just like,
I admire his work more so.
And
Yeah.
he says that. He's like, the only show that I ever really put myself in was A Moment of Sunday and Marilyn. He's like, otherwise it's not me. I don't want you thinking that that company was some person that I
or
was,
passion.
I
People always try to
yeah,
attribute
yeah.
company or passion.
He always wanted to keep it. He's kind of the one that taught me this, where he kind of wanted to keep it separate. Or even in interviews that they tried, he's always like, it's work. I don't really care about my personal life. To where I'm like, but if I did know him, and now it's just an extra part that I can love.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I still have that I could love.
He was great. The only time I ever saw him like get like antsy is when somebody was so clearly kissing his ass, or somebody was so clearly networking. That's when he would get like.
Had you met him?
Yeah, because he worked on Sweeney with us.
Right, of course. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and he. This was actually a fun day. He came in one day to give notes, and Lonnie was like, he likes to dictate his notes to someone. Can you take his notes for him? So there I was, me and him, a whole run through a Sweeney Todd, and I was like, I'm not going to treat him like Mr. Santa. Right. I'm like, Steve, how you doing? What's going on? You want coffee? And then we would just sit around and we would talk and stuff like that. I'm like, you see anything good lately? And then during the note session, he would just start going off on tangents about things and stuff. But he felt comfortable. Yeah. You know what I meant?
Yeah.
And so, but as soon as somebody came over, he was like, what do you need, Mr. Santa? You could see.
He got a little,
He's like, I'm not Mr. Sondheim.
Right.
I'm Steve. I'm the right. You know, we all get into this because we like Community.
Of course.
And I think what happens when like suddenly you're higher in the pecking, you don't become part of the community anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden now you're on a pedestal. Yeah. He didn't want to be on a pedestal.
Right.
He wanted to be down in the trenches working.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we all like love about this. So as soon as that's taken away from you, I think he would get.
Yeah. It's kind of remarkable to see people work, isn't there? Because like you don't. The thing about it is, and maybe this is like, and this is a bigger conversation of like the idea of like fame and the work, because you have like Sondheim, and we look at Sondheim, and you have to. What do you love about Sondheim? Well, I love X, Y, and Z that Sondheim did. Sondheim is not like a social media influencer, you know, where like you just like you like their quality, their essence, what they're. Yes, I like seeing a Sondheim interview and whatever. But what I love about Sondheim is the work, you know.
And here's what I wish every young writer could have seen in this session with him. So Audra's up there, she's singing something that the beggar woman sings, right? And he comes to the edge of the stage and he goes, "Hey Audra, come here for a second." And she comes here, he goes, "You're taking a breath here," and he goes, "It might diminish the joke if you take the breath there." He's like, "But if you take the breath here, I bet you'll get a bigger laugh." He's like, "But do what you want." I was like, this is Stephen Sondheim. He could have been like, "You will take the breath here, damn it." He was like, "Do what you want." it was that there's a flexibility.
Right.
Being like, I have created it, it's yours, I can guide you and give you advice, but at the end of the day, you're up there singing this song. I wish every young writer could have seen that, because every young writer that I work with, not a lot of young writers, are so precious.
Yeah.
They're so precious about everything. I'm like, this guy is literally the reason we're all in this. And he's looking at her going, do what you want.
Well, yeah, and I've noticed that from what I've seen, I can kind of, the only thing I can attribute that to, the idea of like, don't change my line.
Yeah.
Don't. It's like Shakespeare. Like having filmed this with you, I'm going, you can't improv Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like, there's no riffing here. But what had this quality about the 70s, again, from what I've seen, whether it's from the Beatles, Zeppelin, all that, to this, is that they did have, Sondheim came from the time of, but what he had shown, I mean, that company documentary or the recording is, he has to know how to, there was a moment where he noticed himself being like, this isn't working, I have to approach this differently.
Yeah.
They're clearly not taking the note.
Yeah.
And instead of just badgering it, they were going through a tough time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're dealing with Elaine Stritch. You're dealing with people who are even highly emotional. Some people that are Ladies Who Lunch is an emotional song too. So on the third take, you're gonna get a little fired up.
Yeah.
And he saw that coming, and that was what you're saying is rather consistent.
Right. I was gonna also, for her, it was like 6 a.m. and she had like 3 bottles of scotch or something. So no wonder she's having some trouble.
A little bit of a different situation.
She was something. She was a piece of work. She was something else. But and Stephen Schwartz. I did Baker's Wife with Stephen Schwartz.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
We had this girl come in to sing the Meadowlark song, right? So she auditioned for me. This wonderful actress. Her name was Madison Claire Parks, but she wasn't like Patti LuPone belter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck! Like, how am I gonna tell him? Like, we're gonna have someone sing Meadowlark, and she's not Patti LuPone. She's not Patti LuPone. She's not gonna belt. So I called him. I said, well, this great girl. She's really wonderful. I said, but she really doesn't belt like Patti. And he goes, who said she has to? And I said, well, this song is traditionally blah blah. He goes, yeah. He's like, but if it works better for the story for her not to do it that way, we'll go that. You know what I mean? It's just that like flexibility of like, well, what's the best thing for the story?
Right.
And I don't think a lot of newer writers do that. I think it's what's best for me, what makes me look smart, what makes me look like I have a good song. What's this song that I wrote that I really love? It doesn't matter if it has anything to do with the show. And I just wish they could see these people in action.
That's also the danger of knowing music. That's the danger of going into a more pop sensibility.
Yes.
Pop is so much more of a formula.
Yes.
Whereas what was Leonard Bernstein pulling from? Well, he was pulling from composers that had no basis. We're talking Beethoven, we're talking people that were just like, it's a piano, what are we going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to figure this out. Whereas this formula now that they're like, this works. And kind of fortunately or unfortunately, for better or for worse, it works.
Yes.
It does. There are certain, Michael Jackson, there are certain things that he did where it was a formula and you knew that was coming and you wanted that to come and it happened.
That's something I don't think they've figured out just yet. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's figured it out, and I think Sarah Bareilles has figured it out, which is this idea of like a pop song isn't supposed to be like move something along narratively. A pop song is supposed to be about a really catchy hook. Right? That's what it is. That's what it's. You're supposed to dance to it. You're supposed to get it in your head. It's an earworm. You're supposed to remember it. People that try to use pop songs now, all in a musical theater piece, it's stagnant. It's flat. They don't know what to do with it. Sarah Bareilles does and Lin-Manuel Miranda does. Yeah. They know how to take pop music sensibility, but craft lyrics and composition that make it feel like something is in forward momentum.
Yeah.
Other people I don't think have cracked that
and
yet.
It's hard when you have to fulfill a mold. I always, when I'm listening to a musical that is, following this like pop rock formula, you're seeing the verse, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, second verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, end thing really puts you at a limitation.
Yes, it does.
And so I think that Lynn has certainly defied that and broken that and mixed it and then put it back in and then whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I look at like Sarah and I look at like Waitress and I'm like, oh, okay, well that has a bunch of moments where she's used that formula and somehow molded it in a way that still serves her in the plot.
And it's serving the story.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of them have figured that part out yet. But you're like, with somebody like Bernstein, they were making it up as they went along. They could play, they could mold. Why can't the song be A B C A? You know what I mean? Why can't it be that?
Right.
Yeah, someone like Adam Ghetto ran with it.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas to me, someone like, and it doesn't make him any worse, it just makes his style so different. So I love about theater. David Yazbek. David Yazbek also nailed. He can get a
He's
chorus
great.
in there. He knows when to repeat and when to be like, I don't need to repeat.
I don't need to, and then use it to his advantage.
Yeah.
But you'd also to use it to his advantage. He'll utilize that thing where you'll go, oh yeah, for humor's sake, for whatever.
And what helps the story in this moment?
Right.
And I don't know if they all realize that. Like there is a story here. And you're right. Like, did you see Dead Outlaw?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Love Dead Outlaw.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what it should be. He was like, I'm going to write a musical about a guy who was more important in his death than in his life. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then he plays around with the structure and how things get delivered, but all in service of the story.
Right.
Not for you to go, God, what a great song he wrote.
Right.
God, he's so good. You know, it's what is the story?
Yeah.
And I think we forget that a lot.
I want to ask you about. Well, actually, you talked about Dead Outlaw, and I have to talk about this because I think about David Cromer as a director. I just think is one of our best living directors. And did you see Prayer for the French Republic?
I did not. I did not.
That show I think was one of the best directed shows I've ever seen in my entire life, and it was just like. There's something about can you talk about utilizing the set to your advantage when it comes to certain things in terms of directing? Because the reason why I brought up that show, or Dead Outlaw, is a great example too of how there was that moment where the band is in the box and we're looking at the box, and then it flips and then it turns, and then we're using the upper. And we're using, I guess, like those moments of surprise.
Yes. You're always looking for that.
Yeah.
Always looking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish there was something more eloquent to say, but like it's how many times can you visually surprise us as an audience member? Because we come in, we look at the set, and we get it very clearly. We like get what that static picture is. Yeah. But if you can go, aha, but it can turn, then we as an audience, we lean in. Right. And we go, oh, well, what else can it do? Oh my God, it's elevating. Oh my God, what else can it do? So now we're never going to get comfortable with the picture. Right. Which is what you want. It's like in film when you cut away. It's the same sort of effect. You know, it's the same effect. It's just we don't have a camera in our world. Right. The best surprise I ever saw was a David Cromer production, and it stays with me to this day. Did you see his Our Town? No. Did you see this? No. Holy shit. I'm going to try to describe this to the best of my ability. And nothing I will say will do it justice. So you know Our Town, right? The play, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.
My sister's doing it right now.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
My mom.
So his brilliant idea on it was he did it down at the Barrow Street. And usually Our Town, it's Grover's Corners, and this is a chair if you need scenery, blah, blah, blah. But it's always presented with this like real folksy charm to it. None of that. He did everything in modern clothes, everything in modern speech, didn't change one word of the text. There was nothing on stage the entire time. Nothing. Until the end of the third act when the girl says, I want to go back. I want to go back and I want to see my house one more time. I don't know how the fuck he did it. The stage manager goes, okay. There's been a black curtain hanging up the entire time. He rips it down. There is a literal 1905 kitchen with the actress who plays the mother now in her 1905 garb with bacon cooking. The whole theater smelled of fresh bacon being cooked. Oh my gosh. And you could feel everyone's senses elevate. And what was so brilliant about it, he was saying when we go back to our memories, there are certain things we remember. Right. We remember that what color our mom's dress was. We remember what her bacon smelled like. We remember the wood grain on the window. And he had saved it. He had saved it all for this one moment. And it was the most brilliant thing. And it was the biggest surprise possible because he had kept surprises from you the whole time. Yeah. Wow. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah. And it was all anyone could talk about. It was the best production of Our Town I ever saw in my life. Wow. And all he did was follow the text. Mm-hmm. The text the guy says in the beginning, he goes, we're doing it with no costumes, no scenery, no nothing. So what the stage manager is saying is there's no artifice. Mm-hmm. So then why the fuck when we see it do they go, welcome to Grover's Corners? That's an artifice. He just clearly told us we're not using artifice. Right. And all David Cromer did was follow exactly what the text said. Yeah. It was brilliant. Wow. Very cool. Brilliant. That's awesome. I love that. But it's those surprises. Right. It's those surprises. Right. How many times can this surprise us? Yeah. And
why did it surprise us? I was saying,
and
that juxtaposition of now, that's like you're saying, it almost becomes meta.
Yes.
We've been playing, because now you're playing with the audience. Only theater can really do that. But where you can make someone smell something like,
oh man,
4D movies. But
oh yeah, and I don't know how they did it, but all of a sudden that curtain came down and it hit you. It's a memory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know how there's some things you smell and it takes you back, like you smell a perfume and you're like, oh my God, my first girlfriend wore that. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Sure.
It hit us all at the same time. It was the most brilliant fucking thing imaginable.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He's great. He's great.
I want to talk to you about J2.
Sure.
So you are the artistic director of J2 Theater Spotlight.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about how you got involved in this, how this idea came about.
Sure. So when I was doing Behind the Curtain, I would ask a lot of actors, I'm like, how'd you get started? And they said, oh, through Equity Library Theater. And I was like, what is Equity? I never heard of this. I'm like, what is Equity Library Theater? And they said, oh, it was a theater up on 103rd and Riverside. They would do 6 shows a year. And you would get paid in a Metro card. Like your pay was only a Metro card, like a Subway tokens back then, and a sandwich. That's all you got, was a sandwich and a Metro card. But you could do full productions, and they would invite the New York Times, and they would invite agents, and they'd invite critics. So everybody had gone through Equity Library Theater. It was a rite of passage. And I was like, why don't we have that now?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, could we have that now? And I got very lucky. I had this idea, and I met a guy named Jim Jamiro, who loves musical theater more than me, and was like, we talked about this idea. He said, this sounds like a really good idea. Let's put it into fruition. And we just had a handshake, and that's how this whole thing got started.
And this is a big fact about Jim that I'll never.
Yes.
Helped discover the Disney Channel.
Oh, he not even helped on his own.
Oh my gosh.
Jim created the Disney Channel on his own. And when he was working at Disney, everybody was like, who's going to want to watch a channel that's all Disney? And he fought and he fought and he fought. And he's the guy who created the Disney Channel. Crazy. Then he also created Walt Disney Home Video.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was like, why don't we put these movies on VHS? And people were like, why? We can see it on TV for free. And he goes, but you get to see it when you want to see it.
Right.
And I think he's also the one that came up with the idea of it's going back in the vault. Do you remember? I don't know. You guys maybe you're too young for this. What? They used to have these Disney movies. Like they'd put like Aladdin out on VHS. And they would be out for like 2 years. And then they would go, okay, everybody, Aladdin's going back in the vault now. You can't get it again. So you make a mad dash to buy as many VHS of Aladdin's because you're like, oh my God, it's going away.
They're not going to, yeah.
And then, of course, 5 years later, get like released again with a new cover. Yeah. But this was all his brilliant marketing.
Wow, that's so funny.
And so our theater company now is like Equity Library Theater. Yeah. We do 3 shows over a 6-week span. We present shows that we think deserve to be seen, musicals that we think deserve to be seen again. And the big thing for us is like your lovely girlfriend, like having people that we think are incredibly talented, that the city needs to see, that agents need to see, the casting directors need to see, and giving them work, and hopefully they get work from the work that we've given them.
Right.
And we are now going on our 6th season.
Crazy.
I think we're on our 13th production. And it's been great. I'm really proud of like in 6 years what we've been able to accomplish. And the big thing for us is every year we have a living writer working with us. Yeah. So that adds more cachet. So last year we did Zorba. John Kander was around all the time. The year before, Aarons and Flaherty were around all the time. Stephen Schwartz. So it gives the actors a chance to meet big people. I don't know how you're an actor, so I don't know if you like this, but when someone says to you, hey, it's not going to pay, but it's great exposure. I hate that. I hate that because I'm like, it's not great exposure. It isn't. Right. Tell that to my landlord. The one thing that I'm really proud of is with our company, when we say it's great exposure, it actually, to me, I'm like, it is great exposure. You're working with writers you never would have worked with before. They're agents and casting directors who you've been dying to get an appointment for, who are now giving you an appointment because now they're seeing your work.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. So we should mention that like the way that you and I know each other is because my girlfriend Kirsten was in Smile this past year.
She was so brilliant. She was so fucking good. She was so fucking good. She was brilliant. Sorry.
And so, but what's funny about it is I think I saw the show 3 times out of I think 8 or something, and I think we got more guests from our podcast from having seen Smile than any other way, because you're right. So many people turned out to, and that was just to that one production. You guys also did Zorba and Drat the Cat that year, and you were like Jim Walton and Stephen Flaherty and Leroy, and you know what I mean? Like they were all amongst the nights. So many people do really show up, and now you guys are at AMT Theater.
Yes, we love it there.
So can you tell me, just remind me, because I can't remember right now, what was the first season that you guys did?
We did, it was during 2020.
Oh, it was.
We did, the first musical we did was a show called Seesaw.
Okay.
That was our first musical.
Yes, that's right.
And then we did a musical called No Strings.
Oh my gosh,
which was so good.
The first interracial couple.
Yeah, the first interracial. Yeah, amazing. And
Richard Rogers.
It was, and I'm so happy you know that. My God, that's great. And then
I'm gonna go crazy. 1962.
Oh shit, he's good.
Check me. No Strings.
He's good. And then we were gonna do a musical called A Class Act that Lonnie had written, actually.
Right.
And our opening night was the night that the pandemic.
March 13th.
Yeah, they were like, we're closing down. Come back. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And a year and a half later, we got back into the theater, and that was the creepiest thing because the set was still up. Wow. All the props were preset, and nobody had been allowed into the theater for 18 months. Whoa. So we went in. It was creepy. What was really creepy was we weren't allowed to like go and get anything. So there were edible donuts in the show, like Entenmann's edible donuts. They were still on stage. They looked fine. There was no mold on them. There was no dust on them. And that scares the shit out of me.
It's terrible.
Because I was like, how is it that for 18 months these things have sat there and there's nothing on them? Terrible. Like, what kind of preservatives are in this?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
1962.
Yeah, nicely done.
No Strings.
Nicely done.
I wish I would have seen that, actually, because I don't know that musical as well as I want to. I just know what year it was that Richard Rogers.
And that's why we do these shows, right. like because you won't get a chance to see No Strings again.
A Woman of the Year I saw when you guys were at Theater Row with Janine LaManna, who was excellent.
Janine, Gertrude
awesome.
McFuzz.
Yeah, she was fantastic. And I saw Smile, and I also The Goodbye Girl.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I believe I saw The Goodbye Girl. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think I did though. That's another one. Like, I love that show.
Yeah, it's
that
so
show
good,
is
right?
So wacky, weird, cool.
It's so good.
Yeah, and when I heard you guys were doing Baker's Wife, that was the first way that I found you guys.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about that production.
Sure.
Like, you guys, this Baker's Wife was a show that really was not all that well known, or still is not all that well known. Now that it's getting this like classic stage company revival, it's becoming more in the zeitgeist at the moment.
Good.
I knew it because of Proud Lady. That's a song.
Oh sure, yeah.
And so Michelle Pauk gave me that song to sing when we were in college, and then I looked at the show. I was like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And like, hot take, my favorite Stephen Schwartz musical.
I love that. He'll be happy to hear that.
But like, yeah. So tell me about The Baker's Wife. Was that the first time that you guys had worked with those writers in that capacity?
Yes.
It was.
Yeah, I had known Stephen because I had done some. I'm also a producer at 54 Below.
Okay. Yes.
And so I had done a couple of shows that Stephen was involved with there, and then I wanted to do something in our season that I was like, I want something that closed out of town. I was like, I want something that closed out of town to make it like unique. And I was like, I'll do The Baker's Wife. So I asked him and I said, here's the idea. Anytime Baker's Wife had been done before, it was big. I mean, it was like big. And I said, it's going to be in a 98-seater. I said, the audience is going to feel like they're part of the cafe.
Yeah.
It's going to be really intimate. There's no mics. We'll need new orchestrations. You can be as involved as you want to be or as little as you want to be. We can do whatever text changes you want. I said, but are you open? And God bless him, he said yes.
So is that how you got the rights for it? Or
yeah.
The rights
no, we had to go to him.
Okay.
If you do a show in New York,
you owe something over there.
If we were, this is so funny. If we were doing Baker's Wife in Brooklyn, not a problem. If we were doing in Queens, not a problem. But on the island of Manhattan, you have to get the authors or the estates to approve and sign off.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I said to him, I said, you can be as involved as you want to be or as little as you want to be. He was with all of our casting. He was with all of our orchestrations. He came to countless run-throughs. He came to rehearsals. He came to performances.
Wow.
He was incredible. Yeah. Just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And the version, I'm pretty sure the version that we did at our theater is now the version they're doing at Classic Stage.
I'm itching to see that production.
Yeah, which I hear is great.
Yeah,
I'm very curious about
That's
it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you in regards to this? Well, you're doing a lot of these shows to this point, right? Seesaw, all these shows that we're talking about, Lucky Stiff.
Yeah.
You're doing Drat the Cat. Like, you're doing these shows that have very little before this. Like what they had before this is their original production, and not a whole lot aside from that.
Correct.
What are you thinking about in terms of diving into this production as a director? In terms of like, what are you going to public library? Or I mean, although I'm not even sure that a lot of that stuff exists there even.
No, usually what I'll do is I'll talk to the authors or the estates, and I'll be like, what to you would be the ideal version of this?
Yeah.
So like, for example, on Baker's Wife, there's a song, oh God, I think it's called Endless Delights.
Okay.
That Dominique and Genevieve sing like in Act 2, right? And Steven was like, I don't want that song anywhere in the show. So great. So like it's asking the authors and the estates. I always say the same thing because I never want to come off as like duplicitous or with like ulterior motives. I'm like, I want to present the best version of this show for you as possible.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen?
Right.
And then they tell us, we want this, we don't want that. We want to cut this, we want to add that. That's the version that they get. That's the version we will give the audience. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you have a criteria in terms of like, what is your criteria in terms of picking the shows for the season?
Honestly, it's like, my big thing is like, I don't want it to have been in the city in the past 10 years.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like, well, I just saw that a couple of years ago. I don't want that. So that's a big one. And also, it can't be a big show. It can't be like Oklahoma. Everybody fucking does Oklahoma. Everybody knows Oklahoma.
Right.
You know, so, or what's a show that Encores, everyone wants Encores to do that they haven't done yet?
Yeah.
Like Smile.
Right.
Smile was Encores never did it. Encores never wanted to touch it. I was like, people love the fucking, excuse my language, people love the show. I'm like, let's give them a production of it.
Yeah, people do love that show.
And people came from Germany, Australia, from our production, I'm not joking, Germany, Australia, Tokyo. And we were like, what are you here for? And they were like, Smile. And I was like, anything else? They're like, well, I'm going to see like, another show, but Smile is why I'm here. These people, these musical theater geeks.
Oh, you're talking about Chris Kyer? Like we had Chris Kyer on the show. And you go like, Chris came from out of town to be in Smile because of Smile.
Yes, it's like, amazing.
It's incredible. Like it's so cool. Yeah, and I guess like to that point, like I think it's just what's remarkable about it is exactly that. You're going to get to see shows that you're not seeing anywhere else, and that you can't really find a...
No, and I say the same thing, and I really mean it. Like, you can come see Smile, and you can leave Smile going, God, that show's not good. Seriously, you can. But you had the ability to see it.
Sure.
And that, to me, is the most important thing. I don't need you to leave going, oh, my God, Smile's the best show since Hamilton. Why are we not... You don't have to think that. Right. But you at least got to see it.
Right.
Like, if I love a movie... I can show you the movie. You love a book, you can give me the book. I can't do that with a musical.
Yeah.
Like I can read the script and I can listen. It's not the same thing.
It is much harder
You
to do that
need to see it up in front of you as a whole piece.
Yeah.
And then you can go, Woman of the Year. Listen, is Woman of the Year the greatest show ever written? No. But how many times are you going to get to say, I got to see Woman of the Year?
Right.
So now you can say, it's not a good show.
Sure.
Well,
for the record, I really liked Smile. Like I will say, like Smile.
It's a great show. Yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
I actually thought that show was a really not only well done production, but also a really good show. Like I actually thought that show was.
I love the show.
I really do like that show a lot. And there's a lot. There's moments of tweaking or whatever, but I think that I actually think that's a great show. What was I gonna say in regards to this too? But you're so right. Is that I get to see this production. I think about a show, and with some of these cases, with these musicals, you can't even see, you can't even read versions of them, right? Like,
no.
I think about a show like that's becoming a lot more popular now. I think, but like The Rink is a great example of a show that I've always wanted to get to know. I know the score decently well because like there's colored lights and Marry Me, but I can't get the plot of this show. And like, a lot of the shows, like, I don't know, Wicked is a bad example, but like, I'm sure there's plenty of shows in the Heights. You could go on Wikipedia right now and get a breakdown of what happens when the song happens. What happens when the song.
Yeah.
We did that with Bright Star. That's how we got to know Bright Star. Yeah. And like but you can't do that with a lot of these types of shows.
You can't. Yeah. And that's why we do them. That's why we do them.
Right.
Or like, also something for criteria you had asked before. It was like, was this show ahead of its time? And so like Smile, to me,
it is.
I was like, this show's really ahead of its time. I was like, this is a show talking about like what is beauty? Who gets to tell you that that you're beautiful? If you're a woman, is this all you get to do in your life? And I was like, that's interesting. And of course, this was before like Jean-Benet Ramsey and before Toddlers and Tiaras. You know what I mean? So
and the thing we were just talking about, Dance Moms.
Dance Moms.
It falls into a similar
So
thing with that.
this show is like way ahead of its time.
Right.
Seesaw that we did is also way ahead of its time. It's a show at the end where the female lead goes, I don't need a guy. I need to love myself before I can love anybody else. This is 1973 or something. You know, this is way ahead of its thinking. So I enjoy that. I enjoy looking at a show being like, I think the audience wasn't ready for it the first time around.
Are you with these shows finding, like, are you discovering a lot of them, or did you know some of them beforehand?
I know most of them beforehand.
As a historian.
Yeah. The only one that I was like, what the fuck is it? Sorry.
No,
the only show I was like, what is it? Was Drat the Cat.
I knew you were going to say that too.
That was a show that I was like, I heard of it. I knew there was a song from it that Barbara Streisand sings.
Sure.
And I was like, and my producer Jim wanted to do it, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this show ran a week. Like, I'm like, how good can this thing be? Then I started reading it, and I started laughing. Like on the first page, I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I turned, like, oh, that's fun. By the end, I was like, this is actually a funny show. I just think it got a bad rap the first time it was out there. And we did a different take on it, which I think actually helped.
Wasn't
the
there
show.
something that Sondheim said about Drat the Cat?
He loved it.
He did, right?
He loved it. Sondheim loved it.
The lyrics, right?
Yeah, he loved the lyrics. He actually sent Ira Levin, the lyricist, who Ira Levin never did another musical after that, but he wrote Rosemary's Baby, and he did the Stepford Wives.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a novelist, and so he did this musical. He was like, I don't like doing musicals. He's like, I'll continue being a novelist. Rosemary's Baby, and if you watch the movie Rosemary's Baby, in the apartment there's a Drat the Cat poster.
Wow.
Yeah, like as a little like Easter egg.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
So that was the only one where I was like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is.
yeah. That's
You
funny.
know?
But you discover something new in all these pieces, and you get to know them better than anyone else.
Oh, absolutely! I love it. I love doing it because
Yeah.
then I'm like, what is this, and how can we make it work?
Right.
And like, why? What is there anything in this show that's still relevant today
Right.
that we can like grab
Mine.
onto?
Yeah, yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Let's talk about this upcoming season. Today,
Sure.
you guys announced that you're doing Milk and Honey.
We are.
That
we
was
are
announced
doing-
today. That is
Yeah.
another one that, like, I was like, oh, I know that show from like a blah, blah, blah. It's Jerry Herman.
Yeah, it's Jerry Herman's first musical. It takes place in Israel, like 13 years after Israel was founded or created. A lot of people have
It was
been.
probably written around that time, too.
It was exactly, yeah. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, do you sure you want to like do this and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's Jerry Herman's first musical.
Right.
Why the fuck wouldn't we do it?"
Incredible.
Yeah. So it should be.
And
good.
you guys have 3 shows this year?
We have 3 shows. Yeah.
Nice.
When is this going to air?
This is going to air something like December 17th, right before Christmas time.
Oh, then at that point we've announced the season. So the other, so I can keep talking.
Yeah,
with
do
that.
it. I wanted to put this disclaimer in here because we did this after I filmed the intro, and I just wanted to say that Rob mentions according to this J2 Theater Spotlight 2026 season, spoiler in the middle of the episode, that Do I Hear a Waltz was going to be their second show of the season. This was filmed before the announcement that was just made a couple weeks ago that that is no longer the case due to rights issues. And the new show that will be replacing Do I Hear a Waltz is Carnival. So I just wanted to put this little disclaimer out there. And yeah, back to the episode.
The last show that we're doing is The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Whoa.
And it's the 40th anniversary of the show. And Rupert Holmes, who wrote the show, is going to be with us on it.
Wow.
So he'll be working on it with us too.
That's an exciting piece. So I know that show because one of my big I Want to Be Like Yous, who we've had on the show, and he's the best, is Andy Carl. And
yes!
He did the show at Roundabout in 2014, 13, something like that. And so I got to know it, and I was like, what is this show? This is so cool.
Yeah, it's so
you know,
good.
and LaGuardia, we had a friend who did it at LaGuardia recently,
Yeah.
or not recently, but like Jim Wallen. Yeah, Jim
Love
Wallen was in it
Jim.
as well. Was in that production of Drood and Will Chase and crazy cast. Cheetah Rivera, Jesse Mueller. That was a crazy
Stephanie
cast.
J. Block was
Stephanie
in
J.
it.
Block.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
a
everybody
crazy
and their
cast.
mother.
Betsy Wolf, I think, was in it. But the idea behind Drood is that every night there's a different ending.
Yeah, every night there's a different
Come
ending.
on.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It's
That is
so cool.
awesome. That's a great season.
Thanks. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We're really
and you're
looking
doing
forward
it
to
the same way where it's back to back, right?
Back to back.
Right. So
One
you do
closes
2
on a Sunday.
2 weekends
Yep.
of it. Yeah.
Next one opens on a Thursday.
Oh my gosh, what a
Yeah.
marathon.
It's a marathon, but I
And
love
you're
it.
directing all 3 of them.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
TBD.
I know
TBD.
I'm definitely doing Waltz and Drood.
Nice.
Milk and Honey, I don't know just yet. TBD.
Incredible.
TBD. That's actually, besides Drat, that was actually one I knew not very well.
Oh, Milk and Honey.
Yeah.
I don't really know it very well either.
Yeah.
I just know what I know from it.
It's cute. I mean, not cute. It's sweet. It's a sweet story. It's very adult.
Yeah.
Like it's very adult.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of excited. I don't know if I want to tell this story, like me personally.
Sure.
But maybe I'll.
What's funny too about these musicals, and this will be like one of the last things we talk about, but like with musicals, you'll get to know the music because the music oftentimes is out there. The book is the thing that you go,
oh yes. You're like, oh, like Milk and Honey has a very like traditional, they meet each other, they're in love. And you're like, shit, that happened really fast.
Right.
You know,
right.
One of those.
Right,
so that's always challenging.
Yeah, you're going to have to justify it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, but
that's
book
awesome.
problems, that comes up a lot.
Yes, right.
Book problems.
And book surprises.
And book surprises.
You know, there is a show there's a show recently, I won't say what it is, but there's a show recently that like I love the score. I listen to the score all the time, but I was a kid when I saw this show. And then I went back to it recently for like an audition and I'm reading a side for the show and I'm going, I didn't remember
Wait, I'm
this.
curious. What is it?
I'll tell you.
Can you
I'll have
mouth
to
it
tell
to
you.
me? Can you
I'll
mouth
have
it to
to tell
me?
you off air.
I'm curious.
But it's just funny because I didn't remember that. But the music is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know. So it's just one of those things.
Books
you
are
know,
fucking hard.
They are
Books
really.
are
Books
hard.
of musicals are really tricky.
They seem to be the most, and maybe it's just something that's ingrained in music, and music is inevitably going to be more timeless.
Yeah.
Where the book is so much more of that person's personality.
Yeah.
It seems like people gravitate towards screenplays.
Yes.
Tarantino types. You're like, that's so Tarantino.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas lyrics, you can kind of bleed into the character.
Absolutely.
You know? So it becomes really timeless. So things like that. It's like, it's really of its time you start seeing.
I always feel bad for book writers because, like, if the show is successful, nobody talks about the book writer. And if the show is horrible, all they do is talk about the book writer. Do you know what I mean? It's just not a good job. I feel bad for those
and it's
people.
funny even if you look in like the canon of things, like I don't know, you tell me because I know that Do I Hear a Waltz was Sondheim and Rogers. Who wrote the book?
Arthur Lawrence.
What?
Nicely done,
See, like
yeah.
I had no idea. I did not know that. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. But even if you look at like all the Sondheim canon, people will credit. They're like, those are the Sondheim shows. But you're like, yes, and the Lapine shows and the John Weidman shows.
Oh
and
yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, and the best I
I
think
had
he
no
ever
idea
had.
that Arthur Lawrence wrote the book.
Oh yeah, Hugh Wheeler to me was the best book writer
Sweeney
Sondheim
Todd,
ever worked with.
yeah.
Sweeney, Night Music.
Right.
Yeah, I had heard. I don't know if this is true that he wrote Sweeney as a play and then gave it to Sondheim, or maybe I'm thinking of a Little Night Music. Like he wrote one of them as a play. Like, and then gave it to Sondheim and was like, now you figure out where the songs go.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's true,
who I'm blanking on his name right now. Who wrote Company?
George Firth.
George Firth. Yes.
Not my favorite book writer because he also did Merrily, but that's okay.
But I love that Company book. I love the book.
Oh yeah,
I love the
yeah.
book Company. Yeah. Anyway, I look forward to this season. This is
Good.
gonna be a blast. And when do
Good.
you guys start up in the new year?
In the new year, our
March,
first
right?
performance I think is April 16th, 2026. Will you
Very
be
cool.
auditioning? Will we see you?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know I'll be there. Yeah. of
Can I have your
course.
resume?
Yes, here it is.
Thank God. He was in Dorothy
yeah.
at Apples and Oranges, right?
That's right. That's right.
Where is Apples and Oranges?
It was like this company. It was a production company that did workshops, and we did it in Connecticut. It was a workshop.
That's
for the
wonderful.
musical. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
actually, maybe who? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out the guy who wrote the musical. It was called The Lieutenant. This musical. It was like 2003 or something. I think.
Wait.
It was like this opera. It was an operetta, I think.
Oh, I don't know this.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, and he had written that musical, got nominated for a bunch of Tonys and stuff. And, yeah.
Yes, this is from the 70s.
Maybe it is the 70s. Maybe I'm
you're
crazy.
so right. You're
Yeah.
so right. I cannot remember his name. I'm a horrible
I can't remember
historian.
his name either. Anyway, he was a great guy for the record, and he worked on this show. And he
So
wrote
cool.
This and for what it's worth, Dorothy, we'll talk about it. Dorothy, the story is actually becoming a movie with Jessica Chastain, and it's about this woman who discovered JFK's assassination. There were things in it that were a little muddy.
Wait, this is Dorothy Kilgallen.
Yes.
Oh.
Dorothy Kilgallen. It was a musical about Dorothy Kilgallen.
What a fucking life she had.
Crazy.
Who directed this? Do you remember who directed
Stephanie Clemens,
Oh, okay.
who actually is choreographing The Baker's Wife right now at CSC.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the associate on Hamilton.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That Dorothy Kilgallen. What a fascinating life
Crazy.
she had, this
Yeah.
woman.
And
They killed
she,
her.
And then wound up dying out of nowhere. You know.
Yeah.
She had discovered all these things about the JFK files and then died out of nowhere.
That happened a lot.
It does seem to happen a
Yeah.
lot. And also, and they're making a movie about it. Jessica Chastain is playing her.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I did a podcast called This Was a Thing.
Yeah.
And we would explore like major cultural events throughout time.
Oh, interesting.
And that was one of them that we covered, and I learned so much about her.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit more about just to hear more about John Kander and working with him on Woman of the Year and Zorba.
Yeah.
I've heard he's just the kindest, sharpest guy.
Yes.
What would you say is the biggest thing that you were able to take away from doing these shows that really nobody does of his?
Oh, about him as a composer, or just him as a person?
Both.
Oh my gosh, as a composer, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. I really don't. I mean, his work is so versatile, and I think what's interesting is I think most times when people think of Kander and Ebb, they think of like the lyrics of like New York, or Maybe This Time, or Life is a Cabaret. But like what I love about John Kander is you just have to hear the first couple of notes of New York, and everybody goes, I know what that is.
That's a good point.
That's true. That's the city. Like he created the sound of the city. Or when you think of like Broadway, like Razzmatazz, you think of like the opening of All That Jazz, or you think of like the opening of Cabaret. Like he has created, or Willkommen, like the opening. He has literally given the definitive sound of what a musical should be, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
I mean, look at Cell Block Tango.
Oh my God,
that's a
I never thought of him alley-ooping that to Fred, though. That's interesting that he was kind of giving him that opener. And I'm now thinking about it. It happens in so many songs
of their work, yeah.
Where, especially Cabaret, where I'm like, it starts with that vamp.
Yeah.
He's like the king of vamps.
He was the king of, and also like, and I shouldn't throw Fred Ebb out with it as well, but like the colloquialisms that now are in like our lexicon because of them, All That Jazz, or Life is a Cabaret. You know, I mean, all of New York, start spreading the news. Like all of these things that they created. Everyone talks about Sondheim, and he's wonderful, and he's great. Yeah, but I'm also like, there were others. It wasn't, and Stephen Sondheim would be the first to tell you there were others.
Of a time that was great.
Who were great.
Yeah.
He's like, I was up to, he said he didn't want to criticize anybody who was alive.
Yeah.
But he was like, my collaborators started naming them. It was like, they were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It really is true.
Sondheim was the biggest musical theater geek I think I'd ever met.
Yeah.
He loved it more than anybody. If you ever get the chance, there's an interview where he's on a panel. It's him and Barbara Cook. Mm-hmm. And the moderator asks Barbara Cook, it's a great question. He goes, what score did you love going to sing every night? Like you would look forward to? And she's sitting there and she's like, I don't know, maybe Carousel. And you can see Sondheim like getting ready. He wants to burst. And she goes, I don't know. And she goes, maybe She Loves Me. And he like jumps up and he goes, yes, She Loves Me. He goes, Bach and Harnick. He goes, it's the best score ever written. And they did this and they did that. And he becomes us. He becomes the geek like us.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think all the greats have.
Yeah.
Is that enthusiasm.
For sure.
Did you find that in John? In Canada?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. He was incredible. He told me a funny story. So the original Zorba opened with all the actors in a semicircle on chairs playing instruments. Mm-hmm. And John Kander asked Hal Prince, he goes, well, why do you want to start that way? And Hal Prince looked at him and goes, John, he's like, everybody, it's a bouzouki circle. He goes, everybody in Greece does this. Everybody in Greece does these bouzouki circles. So John Kander and Fred Ebb went to Greece and they started asking people, like, where can we see a bouzouki circle? And everybody looked at them like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And John Kander said, Hal Prince just made it up. He said one day Hal Prince walked outside of his hotel and there were like two musicians sitting in a circle playing an instrument, playing the bouzouki. And Hal Prince was like, they do this everywhere. And so John Kander said, he goes, we spent this entire trip in Greece asking people, where do we find a bouzouki circle? He goes, they didn't exist. So it was stuff like that. You know, it was that little information. Yeah. But he was wonderful to work with. He was just, I mean, people always ask me, like, who's the biggest asshole you ever worked with? I really can't think of one.
Yeah.
I got so lucky.
Yeah.
I got so lucky. I got to work with my heroes. I'm happy that I met my heroes. I don't think there's anybody I've ever met where I'm like, holy shit, I really regret that.
Right.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
But I think you also have to know how to, like, not treat them like your heroes.
Sure.
We're colleagues. Sure. You know? I'm not here to kiss your ass, Mr. Sondheim. I'm here to know if you want a coffee.
Right.
and suddenly they relax.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely something to that, to the casualty of it that makes it a lot more.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny how certain things feed other things, because I also want to talk a little bit about the podcast that you have, Broadway Bound, the musicals that never came to Broadway, because God only knows how much that informs what you're doing now with finding these musicals in J2.
Yes, I love playing detective.
And I listened to this episode because like, I have to listen to this. Bounce. You did an episode of Bounce pretty recently in July, and I was just like, so we know Sondheim very well. We're big Sondheim fans, but when you look at like the Wise Guys, Bounce, Gold, roadshow of it all, for us, and we're a little biased because of Michelle Park, but Bounce is the best version of it all for me. Bounce is like out of the three of them, that's my favorite. You know,
my favorite is Wise Guys.
The original, the reading,
the OG reading.
The OG reading.
Nathan Lane, Victor Garber, and it's dark.
It is dark.
It's dark. I think that Bounce. Well, let me ask you. You listened to the episode, right?
Yep.
Why do you? And you guys, why doesn't it work? Why did they spend 60 plus years on this show, 4 incarnations, and it never works?
It's funny, right? Like,
I feel like seems like, because this is more of a personal on their end, I'd love to ask them, but age. I feel like if they were my age, they would have all been like, well, that's it. We don't need to add any more paint.
You think?
Okay with sitting in it and been like, that worked. Maybe if it doesn't, who cares? Next thing, let's move on.
That's funny. For me, I would say...
That's interesting.
And then so perfect, so let's get a new collaborator. Like, maybe that thing that you did before, you had something there and just,
That's funny. See, for me, I would say like when I think about all the different versions of the shows, the reason why we have a favorite is because the tone was different in those versions and their focus was different. So for me, the thing that didn't work is that they weren't focused on the same focus. He was trying to make a musical about, capitalism, and then this one's trying to make a musical about just two brothers, and this one's trying to have an angle of vaudeville. And you're going, well, we're not on the same page here. We're all making 3 different musicals.
And that's it. Actually, it's so funny you say that. Like, one of the things I'm discovering, like when I do this series, is people ask, well, what's like the commonality that like these shows don't come in or these shows don't work? And I think it's that. I don't think anybody ever asks, well, why are we doing this? Like, why are we? Honestly, no offense to the Meisner brothers, I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, who cares? I was like, who cares? One guy built a bunch of houses for rich people, and then one guy was an asshole. So I'm like, why do I want to spend an evening with these people?
Sure.
That's just my opinion on it.
I hear you. Yeah. That's interesting.
But I'm like, I don't think anyone ever said, well, why are we doing it? Why do we need to tell the story of these guys? Like, if you go see Hamilton, you're like, I understand why they want to tell this story.
Of course.
Or even like Waitress, I understand why. Why they want to tell this story.
Right.
But a lot of these shows that I cover on the podcast, but like Wise Guys and Bounce especially, I'm like, why are we? Why? Yeah. What? First of all, what is interesting about their lives? Period. And then what is music going to add?
Right.
On top of that, for me at least. I mean, I don't think they ever found the why.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's fun. One guy was colorful, and one guy was like, he was a closeted gay guy. Oh, but why?
Yeah.
Like, why are we telling this story?
And really, it's in the music, the game.
Oh, the game is great.
Like, think about that.
Such a great song.
Think about that. And Sondheim always talks about this, where he says, what Sondheim always says about any musical, the hardest thing to do is to write the book into the music.
Yeah.
Right into that song.
Yeah.
And with that song, it's right when that vamp starts, you're going, and that's the heightened emotion. So we have music and musicals. That moment of going, now I'm going to try to convince you. Can you turn this guy into you? And then watch this whole thing collapse. Yeah. So it's a moment. Other moments, I'm like you said, which didn't seem as clear.
Yeah.
We're doing something, but it's not very clear of why.
I also think, like, had the show come out, this is going to sound so weird, I think 9/11, like, really impacted, like, the tone that shows of people that wanted to see. You know what I mean? So, like, after 9/11, if it was a dark musical, nobody wanted to see it. Nobody wanted. You look at all these wonderful shows that came out right after 9/11 that were dark. Nobody wanted to see them. They wanted something happy and optimistic.
Famous Mamma Mia, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, like Man of No Importance, Sweet Smell of Success, all of these Thou Shalt Not, great shows. Nobody wanted to see them. They were too dark. And I think Bounce and Wise Guys fit into that mold. I think had they stayed with the original idea, the Wise Guys idea, where it was dark and it was cynical, I think they probably would have been in better shape, but have done it like 10 years earlier. Or...
Because the 90s was dark. The 90s
was very dark.
Had a lot of, darkness seeped within it.
The 90s was very, very dark, and even then it wasn't like as dark as it could be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, I always felt like that was also like a victim of time.
Right.
And then in 2003, like after 9/11, then they're trying to find, well, how do we still keep it dark and cynical, but find comic moments so an audience doesn't get alien? You can't have your cake and eat it too.
So you know more about this, but it also seemed, no pun intended with Bounce, like a gold rush where 90s kind of felt a little, in terms of musicals, kind of a little bit empty.
Oh, absolutely.
Where are the gaping holes that once the 2000s kicked in? It felt like, that also feels like the start of the theater kid, at least, because you have social media.
Yes.
You start getting bootlegs. You start getting not such theater kids, but such people just writing these more theater fans. Theater, I think, was super long, almost, where it was thin.
Yeah.
And what was good was so good. It made it really wide.
From like from like 82 to about 90, actually from 82 to about 2001, it's like a wasteland for musical theater. I mean, it really is, because AIDS was killing off anyone that was like revolutionary and new. And then if you were part of the old guard, you were dying of old age. Mm-hmm. So like, because you know how it goes, like usually like in film, like you have all these old film directors, then they start to die off and a new generation like comes in to take their place.
Yeah.
Musicals, we didn't have that.
The new generation's dying.
Yeah, the new generation's, the old guard's dying and the new guard's dying. So now it's this big empty hole. And that's when the Brits came in, the European people came in, and they were like, well, we can't really give you a good musical. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like we can't give you like a tradition, but we can give you a chandelier that falls. We can give you people roller skating around.
Les Mis.
We can give you that.
Xanadu, yeah.
Or like the helicopter, like in Miss Saigon, we can give you that. Yeah. But that's about it. And then the only bright side we had was Rent, but then the guy was dead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
in particular with the 90s. With the 80s, you had a bunch of those Sondheim pieces with Sweeney and Sweeney, I guess, was right cusp, and then Into the Woods and, all that.
And people forget, Sunday was not a commercial success.
Right.
Into the Woods got mixed reviews. Assassins was a flop.
Right.
Passion, I think, ran like a couple of months, and then it closed down.
Year was even empty of Passion.
What I love about that Passion year is it's nominated against Beauty and the Beast.
Crazy.
It's the same story. It's the same story.
You were noticing.
Yeah,
right? Isn't that interesting?
We picked up on that.
It's the same story.
Which is so funny.
So it was just this like wasteland, but then the producers in 2001, Mel Brooks, it revitalized everything. And then after 9/11, when people were like, holy shit, we need escapism, that's when you got this influx of music. You got Hairspray and Thoroughly Modern Millie and all these big, bright, wonderful musical comedies.
And even the jukebox musical,
and
which served its own purpose there.
I always call it like that era, like in musical theaters, I always call it the comfort era.
Yeah.
Because everyone was so unsettled. They needed something comfortable. So it was going to be revivals, movies that they knew being turned into musicals, or jukeboxes, songs that they knew being turned into musicals. It took a long time for musical theater to like push back on that a little bit.
And yet somehow we're back there in a certain respect.
We are.
There is COVID that's a part of it, of course, but we are. I think that, what would you say, especially from like a historian background? We say like, oh, the 90s are dark, and you say it's always hard, right, to define the time that you're in.
Yes. Yeah.
But when I look at, like, if I had to define the time we're in from like a grand perspective of across the gamut, entertainment, fashion, pop culture, all these things, it like the biggest word that comes to mind is nostalgia. Where I think about like our entire time right now, so much of our time is nostalgic. What we wear is nostalgic of another time. What we watch is nostalgic of another time. If you look at everything's being you say everything, but you know what I mean? Like things are being rebooted all the time, sequelized. There's the, sequel, the Mel Brooks movie that I'm blanking on right now.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs is coming back, and you're like, well, that movie came out like 40 years ago, and they're like, Spaceballs 2, and whatever, Toy Story 5, all the things that are, and then in theater, it's a very similar, similar essence.
Yes,
nostalgia.
and I think it's not going to be successful.
Interesting. Why?
I think that you have to correlate. It's like what's happening in the national and the global scene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think we tried this once before when we as a world felt frustrated, and it was good for then. Now it's going to be angry. I think you're going to see a lot more shows dealing with like more visceral reactions to things. I think television's going to be more visceral. I think movies are going to be more visceral.
Yeah.
And I think theater is going to be more visceral.
Yeah.
I hope Spaceballs is going to be great.
Right.
Would not be surprised if people just said, that was nice, and then moved on.
But it's happening all over. It's like, if you look at it, like even like the idea of the comedy not being successful anymore, the comedies don't really come out, and every comedy has a little bit of a dark twist. And you're like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
The only film that was available 100 years ago was comedy.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what started this whole thing.
No, exactly. But I think comedy's changing. Comedy now is very like cynical, and not very empathetic, And so I think you're going to see more of that.
As silly as it sounds, not very funny.
Well, that's the other thing. I'm also like, any joke will offend somebody.
Sure.
It just will. No matter what joke you make, it will offend somebody, even if it's self-deprecating. Even somebody might be offended by the self-deprecation. So I think there's like this sense of like, I don't want to say overly cautious, but I think because of that, I'm like, well, what's funny now?
Yeah.
Like, well, what's funny?
Right. And it's a hard thing to define. I think a lot of it has to come. This is a generalization. It sounds silly, but like, I think a lot of people agreed that things that were funny, whereas now we all have much more specific senses of humor.
Yes.
And so that's why it's a little bit hard to define what's funny, whereas everyone found Charlie Chaplin funny.
Yeah.
Everyone found certain musical comedies funny.
Sandler,
And if you remember, that's all they had.
Yeah.
They didn't have 900 million
Options.
YouTube channels or
Right.
TikToks. All they got was, here's Charlie Chaplin, everybody. This is the only thing we got for you.
Yeah, and I could show you a really funny TikTok that you wouldn't find funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about humor.
Right.
I think it's so wonderful. I think, to me, I don't know if you could, maybe do you and your girlfriend have the same sense of humor?
Very similar, yeah.
I think that's the most important thing in a relationship. I think that if you can have the same sense of humor, anything else will work itself out, because it means you're viewing the world the same way.
Right.
But if you said to me, do you think this is funny? And I'm like, oh, actually, I don't think it's funny. That's probably a pretty good indicator of like differences.
Yeah.
Because you and I are now viewing the world in different ways.
Yeah.
But if you
That's interesting.
and it's so stupid, but if you both sit down and you're like, oh my God, I love it when newscasters fuck up, or I love watching people falling on ice. As stupid as that sounds, you're both looking at the world in the same way.
Yes.
As opposed to someone who goes, oh my God, what, someone's falling on ice?
Right.
They could get hurt.
Right.
Well,
right.
now they have a whole other point of view on things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's plenty of times where you'll even show me things and I'll look and I go, that was stupid. And I go, it's sometimes I go, that was funny, but that was stupid. And sometimes I'm like, that was just stupid. And vice versa. Right. So it's just funny. Things are very specific.
Yeah.
I also want to put this overcast on this conversation to say that like there's also plenty of good. There's plenty of things that are like original and wonderful. And
yes.
Stuff.
Oh, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. There's so much great stuff happening. And what I love is that with things like YouTube and TikTok and all that fun stuff, it's democratized now.
Yeah.
Like anyone can be famous. There's no more gatekeeping. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Sure. You might have been this amazing, 20 years ago, you might have been this amazing singer and your family could have been dirt poor.
Yeah.
And you could have had no way of expressing yourself or getting your talent out there.
Right.
Now you put up your phone and to me, that is the greatest thing imaginable.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to see
Yeah.
It's accessible now, I think, to just about everybody.
For sure.
It's wonderful.
That's sort of I don't mean to cut you off. That's sort of the it's what we're talking about. That could very well be the reason for all this. Where it's like a reason the reason for where we're at in the times where it seems like almost. And when I look at painters, when I look at the Renaissance, where I'm like, I never thought that music, or especially downloaded music or owned music, vinyls, whatever it is, where you can be like, what if there's just so much?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going to stick out anymore? And look at where art is now.
Yeah.
Art's at a place where like people are experimenting to such a high level where now I think we're almost in like maybe a break for the Van Gogh, or we need kind of like a Van Gogh to be like, let's tear this I'm gonna break it and show you
Interesting.
something completely new that you didn't think of.
Yeah.
And Lynn was that to some extent.
Yes.
Like, you thought you knew this?
Yeah.
And the reason why a lot of Spaceballs you're saying it's happening everywhere also is because of what you said, where they see something that works, they're gonna make $1 million of it. Like, we want to make profit on that.
Yeah. And I think it used to be that when people felt scared, they would run back to nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think that's just sort of the way it goes. But what I think now what's interesting is now there seems to also be a lot of anger. Mm-hmm. A lot of frustration.
Right.
And I think a lot of people aren't really retreating back into the comfort of the past anymore. I think they're too angry.
Right.
And so you have one camp that's like, let's do Spaceballs.
Right.
Which is great. I mean, which is amazing. Like, let's go back to what we know. And then I think there's another group being like, fuck that. Here's the bear. Here's, you know.
Well, it's funny. Like, I don't
Ryan
know.
Murphy.
It's been on my mind so much lately because it's just been like the thing we've been watching is what were you gonna say?
Pluribus, yeah.
Pluribus, yeah. So I was gonna talk. Have you heard about Pluribus? Have you been watching Pluribus? Okay, so Pluribus is this new show on Apple TV right now, a new TV show that's on Apple TV right now, and it's the first first and only show created by the creator of Breaking Bad that's not in the Breaking Bad universe.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
And it's 3 episodes have come out so far while we're filming this, and it's excellent. The reason why I bring it up is because it's a show that is kind of about the end of the world in a certain respect.
Yeah.
But what happens when the world ends, quote unquote, is Carol, who's our lead protagonist, goes back to watching The Golden Girls, and it was something
Good
that I
for
thought
Carol.
about. I was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, of course you're going. You know what I mean? Of course. How in the pandemic, I'll never forget like that. For me, my Golden Girls is Boy Meets World, and like that. During that 2020, the thick of it, they were elsewhere. They were in Pennsylvania. I was alone in New York, and there's nothing to put on TV that's like felt like escapism, rather other than for me, Boy Meets World. I knew that was going to fulfill a void that was really, you know what I'm saying? And
That's
like,
so good.
So yeah, we do look back at those things. And also, I wanted to mention there are things that fall through the cracks still, right? We look at all of the shows that you guys are producing at J2, and you go, well, there are a lot of shows that are happening. Like, for example, a show that we just talked about, Dead Outlaw.
Yeah.
50 years down the line, people are going to go, how did this show not... What did that...
Exactly.
So there are plenty of those, and that'll happen all the time. And they'll go, that was a testament to... And that was ahead of its time, and, so...
Love that.
There's always something... There's something to that, too, I think.
I love that Boy Meets World was your...
Oh, we talk about it all the time.
What was yours? What was yours?
Honestly, probably
You're like...
similar, but like... The Office. Yeah.
Oh,
The
The Office
Office.
is so good.
Yeah, The Office,
is so good.
But that's
That 70s show, too.
70s show. Have you watched the new one, The Paper?
I'm in the middle of it.
How is it?
I actually like it.
Okay.
I actually like it. It's different. It's not, and respect to them, they're not trying to make it the Office reboot, but they have very similar isms and fulfill just enough of a void that I actually think it's one of the first ones that is really successful. Unlike, like we just talked about that 70s show, talk about like that 90s show, which was really trying to replicate the exact same thing. This show is not trying to replicate that exact same thing. It's trying to do something a little different, but say, hey, we know you loved that show before.
It's great.
And so I think and it's already picked up for a second season too.
Oh,
which is pretty
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So you know that going into it, you have some sort of comfort knowing that you will get that.
I love that.
So,
I gotta watch it. I love The Office.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So a big reason why you're here to talk about your book, Queer Musicals.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this because this is a part of Essential's musical series, right?
Yes.
And so they've written books that were, one was a Pulitzer Prize musicals, jukebox musicals.
Yeah.
How did you get approached to write queer musicals?
I got lucky. They just asked me.
Yeah.
They said, we're starting this new series. We want to try to improve scholarship for college kids because there's really not a lot of scholarship about musicals from the 21st century. And so they were like, we need more reputable sources for students.
Interesting.
So they're like, would you be willing to write one? And they gave me categories, like these are our options. And I was like, oh, I'll do the queer one. I was like, that one looks fine. I know something about that. I can write about that. I wish I had a more profound answer. I had to get this story off of my chest. They paid.
Sure.
They paid. The money, the check didn't bounce, and I had a free month.
Sure.
And it's a great book, but the check did not bounce.
Well,
and I had a free month.
For what it's worth, though, it's not. You're not phoning anything in this book. There's a lot.
Oh, thanks.
How you know you're not phoning anything in is just go before you read the book. Just go to the end and look at the index and the bibliography.
Fuck. I made my brother do that.
Oh my! Do what?
They said to me, they're like, when I finished the book, they're like, oh, by the way, where's the index? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you have to do an index to be like this name on this page. So I called my brother. I said, how do you want to make a couple of bucks? And that's why so my brother did the index.
He read through the book and found each.
Yep.
Oh my
God
goodness.
love him. Fucking love him.
Because that's tough.
Yeah. I was like,
does your brother do that?
No.
Oh. That's funny.
That's the advantage of being an older brother. You can do this shit.
Yes, that's right.
No matter how old you get.
That's funny.
You see?
God,
you're the older one, right?
Yeah, I am the older one.
Get ready. You're going to be indexing pretty soon.
Yeah, that's funny that you caught that. People tend to think he is. But no, that because when I looked at the index and the bibliography, I went, oh yeah,
gosh. It's a lot.
When we were in college and they were like, cite your sources, I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
I gotta tell you, that was the most annoying thing about writing the book.
Yeah.
Like you're like, where did they say it? Okay, now I got to cite it. Oh, but there's this amazing thing called like citation generator.
Oh.
Where you literally, like if I get it off of online or some shit, I take the website, I put it in and it creates the citation for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, I could probably do it.
Oh yeah, and now fucking AI is coming out, and I'm like, where were you when I needed you?
Right. But when I was in college, it was easybib.com. That's what we used.
Easybib.com?
Easybib, yeah, easybibliography.com.
Okay.
And you would put all the links, or you would put a book, and then they would cite it accordingly, and then you'd kind of just proofread.
Oh,
it
really?
and check that.
Oh, that's really
That's
cool.
how we did it in college, and that was an acceptable way. I didn't cheat.
Yeah, there's a lot of citations in this thing. I wanted it to be definitive. I mean, obviously it's not. It's only my opinion.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's not really a lot of material on like queer musicals and stuff like that, and so I was like, I want this to feel as comprehensive as possible.
Well, it's an interesting niche, and what's interesting about it is that more than maybe any other medium, it's one that is like the idea of this history, queer history, is a specific. This specific niche matches musical theater.
Oh,
They
yeah.
work so well in tandem. Is what I'm
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
say. You know, and what I want to ask is, how did you? Because you start the book with a bunch of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
How did you vet? First of all, how did you know you were just going to do 10? And then, because the book, for those who don't know, is primarily about these 10 musicals through the decades.
Yeah.
How did you settle on these 10?
So what was really nice was the publisher said, hey, listen, if a musical is being covered in another book somewhere, you can't cover it.
Oh.
They didn't want overlap. So like immediately Rent was gone, Strange Loop was gone.
Oh, because they were covered in the other ones in the series.
Yeah, Color Purple was gone. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was like,
see.
this is great. So what I said was, I was like, okay, let me find shows that in some way moved the needle in terms of representation. That was the criteria.
Right.
Not like these are the best or these are, it's not that. Some of these shows I really don't like. But I was just like, they did help push the needle forward.
They were serving this purpose.
They were serving a purpose.
Right.
They were serving a purpose. So that's how I got the 10 that we ended up with. Which was great because then we could actually introduce people to shows like Boy Meets Boy and The Knife, which are two musicals. Most people are like, what is that?
Right.
You know? But I'm like, they were important at their time. So they deserve to be mentioned. So I was able to give more time to them.
Did you know about these beforehand?
Vaguely. I knew that I just knew their titles and I knew Mandy Patinkin was in The Knife and that he played somebody who was transgender.
Yeah.
But that's all I really knew.
Right.
Because both of those shows, there's no scripts available. Right. And The Knife, there was never an album made. So like you're just kind of like existing in nothing. So that one had a lot of research to it.
Right.
A lot of research.
Right. What was I going to say in regards to this too with these 10 musicals? I mean, I imagine this was on purpose too, is that you didn't have none of the musicals were like 1984, 1986. You know, they were all far enough away.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And what I wanted to show was like in 50 years, how has like representation changed. So we started with a musical in 1975 called Boy Meets Boy. Yeah. Where people were like, don't do this. It's, you know, you don't want to be in a gay show, or, you know, God, people are going to think you're gay if you're in a gay show. All the way we end with Jagged Little Pill, where people are screaming, why aren't the gay people in the show? Why aren't gay actors? Why aren't non-binary actors in the show? And I'm like,
what a crazy thing,
what
right?
a fucking leap, man. I was like, 50 years
Yeah.
to go from don't tell anybody that you're gay to how dare you not cast all the out gay people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I was like, to me, I was like, what an interesting bookend.
What I was gonna say, it is a very stark thing, because what's funny about Boy Meets Boy, and when I'm reading this whole chapter, especially essentially this show was a show that like didn't acknowledge the its own title in a certain respect.
No, it
right?
was so good. The premise of the show was it was like an old 1930s screwball comedy where a guy is going to get married and he doesn't want to marry the person that he's going to get married to, and he finds another lover and they run off together, right? This was in all the films, like back in the 30s.
Classic. It's pastiche.
Jimmy Stewart and Catherine, all of them. The composers of Boy Meets Boy were brilliant. They said, what if we did that, but it was guys, and it's gay guys, but we never acknowledge it. So there's never a moment in the show where people are like, homosexuals or like gay people? What is that? It's just accepted as like, oh yeah, gay people are around and they get married all the time. And so I was like, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I was like, this is what makes me so sad about like when I was putting the chapters together, one thing I wanted to make sure, and I don't know if it's come across, so you tell me and be honest, because I can always rewrite. I was like, I don't want it to feel dry. I don't want it to feel like, and the show opened on this date, and it played this theater, and then it opened here. I was like, what's the story?
Yeah.
Like, what is the story about this show that we want to tell? And what I found so interesting about Boy Meets Boy was, here was a show saying that, like, gayness is fine, homosexuality is totally cool, it's no different than straight love, and it was going to tour the country, and the producer and the writer got into a fight with each other, and the tour got canceled. So I'm like, all these fucking kids that lived in like Spokane and Omaha, all these gay people who thought like, there's nobody like me. Because it wasn't on film and it wasn't on TV. And if you saw gay people on film and TV at that time, they were all criminals. Yeah. They were either serial killers or they were going to kill themselves or something like that. So I was like, imagine you got to see positive representation.
Right.
And it never happened. So I'm like, that's the story that I want to tell on that show.
And I think there's something like, so we talk, like, think about like a whodunit movie or whodunit play or musical, right? Like I think about The Cottage, which just came, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, The Cottage was like a classic farce, but it was in 2025, written in 2025 from inevitably a 2025 lens, or like the Knives Out series.
Yeah.
We're looking at something that's like feels pastiche, and yet that takes place now and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So we remove the idea in something like A Boy Meets Boy. It's like you remove the idea, you take the 30s style quality, all of it, where it feels like these shows like Me and My Girl or something like that.
Yes, I love that one.
Like, where it feels like something like that, but it's just doing this thing that's different, and we kind of just don't turn about it. And if someone wrote a musical like that now and put it on Broadway, we wouldn't.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody would think anything of it. But so yeah, there's something about. I thought there was something about that was really charming.
Good.
And something about it that I was like, oh, like this is. Yeah, it's just it was a very specific thing. Why do you think though that now there is? I think inevitably, and I'll use it. I'll use my minority to my advantage. It's like
Do it.
Like I think about it with a lot of content that we see now is like poking fun or acknowledging the fact that it is what it is.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do a Hispanic musical, or I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm Hispanic, and if I'm going to do a Jew, I'm going to put it out there. And sometimes the subtlety within something like A Boy Meets Boy, in my opinion, holds more weight.
Yeah.
But why do you think that is, that now there is a proclamation of sorts of the idea? The idea is that if Boy Meets Boy existed now, they'd market it and pitch it as the gay musical.
That's a great question. That is a great question. And I think a lot, this sounds so horrible. I'm going to sound like such an old man. I think a lot of it is performative.
Interesting.
And a lot of people not trusting that an audience will understand what you're trying to do. I think you have to like capitalize it, underline it, highlight it. This is a show about gay people. Why? Why can't it just be about people who happen to be gay? Why can't it just be a show about people who happen to be Latinx? You know what I mean? And they don't. I don't think a lot of producers trust audiences to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to advertise it.
Yeah, and maybe there's something marketable to it. Maybe there's something that is maybe there's something to the idea of that we couldn't say it before, so now we want to take ownership of it.
Sure.
But sometimes it does feel a little bit like I don't want to exist. For me, I'll say, like, from my own perspective, is like I don't want to exist in this space constantly with you looking at me as a Hispanic person. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this is what I am. I am Jewish. It's like, I don't want you to look at me that way. I just want you to look at me as a person. And then everything else that comes with me is just like a sprinkle. It's a nice little,
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think people now feel like they have to be categorized, or you have to categorize for people and label things.
Sure.
Everything has to have a label now.
Right.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing will be up for discussion. And maybe when that answer happens, we might not even be on this earth anymore to figure that out. Sure. But I feel like a lot of that now is that. It is like, we have to tell you exactly what you're getting, and we have to proclaim it with a bit. Honestly, like, In the Heights is a beautiful show about community.
Right.
It is. It's a beautiful show about a community and a chosen family.
Right.
But everybody wants to go. It's the Hispanic show.
Right.
That's a great one, because In the Heights really doesn't rub it in as much as just being like,
if you think about
it's that moment with Benny where Benny's like, it's because, you know, I'm different from you.
Yeah,
it's explicit to say, right?
No. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's subtle.
And it's subtle.
And if you look at In the Heights and Fiddler on the Roof, what they're the theme is the same.
It's the same.
And in Fiddler, no one is like outwardly saying I'm Jewish, because I can tell.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the point. But now they have to hit you over the head with it. And I'm like, I would rather see a musical about a character who happens to be gay than a gay musical.
Sure.
That's just me.
And you know what? Maybe there's a place for both. I think there's a place for both. I just think that sometimes, you know, like as an actor, we're constantly taught, like the thing we just discussed, right? It's like, don't play that you're sad. We can tell that you're sad.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, and I'm speaking really from my experience, and I'm sure that there are other people who will rebut this or have different ones, and that's all well and good, and I encourage that. What I'm saying though is like, sometimes there's an otherism that's associated to the idea that there's an inevitable otherism.
Yeah.
If I make like people who aren't Hispanic or whatever feel that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, where I have to, by saying it, I'm like, it makes me feel other when I just want to exist in the same parameters, and I just want to look at it and say, this is a love story. It happens to be a gay love story, but it's a love story.
It's a love story.
First and foremost.
Yeah, it's a love story, and they happen to be two guys.
Right.
As opposed to, these are two guys and they're in love, damn it.
Right.
See the show.
Yeah.
And if you don't see it, you're homophobic.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Right. And I'm like, oh my God, the number of bad, I'm gay, I can say this, the number of bad gay shows I've seen, but you can't say that they're bad because then they go, you're homophobic or you're self-hating. No, the show's not good.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to say. Like, there can be, and maybe you've had the same experience with like seeing a Latinx show and you're like, you know, it's not a good show.
Right.
But you can't say it because then you go, oh my God, I'm going to get yelled at for it.
But I just think the show's poorly written.
I just think it's a bad show. I don't care what it's about.
You know?
It's just a bad show.
And art work on different planes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you really have something like, if you say something in a show, for example, something like lyrics or the book, and you're like, man, that moment in the book is not good. What it represents is still good.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It can be good.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's not, and that seems to be like a defense now, which actually I think doesn't help art grow.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Because that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it puts a cap on things that it's like we can look at this show and give it a bad review or a good review for being what it is in regards to it being a musical, not in regards to it featuring something that hasn't existed before.
Yes. And actually, I never thought about what you had said, which is actually really interesting. Was maybe they say it so much because they weren't allowed to say it for so long. You know, we weren't allowed to say it's a gay musical.
Right.
And so now we can say it. You know, what we weren't able to say was a Latinx music. Now we can say it.
And there's some type of ownership in that.
Yeah, and that's also great. That's also great. But
I want to talk about these other shows. It's like to the point of like The Knife, right? It's like,
oh yeah. What a weird one.
Well, it's interesting because it's weird and yet not all that weird.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird and yet I look at it and I go, well, that, like you cite in the book Transparent, and I'm like, Transparent is one of the first things that came to my mind, because I was like, Transparent was an incredibly popular show. It got its own flack for its own things, but you know, it's just funny because Mandy Patinkin joining that, and you're saying he just got cast in The Princess Bride. It's just like
this was huge.
It was huge.
This was huge. So for those of you who don't know, The Knife was this musical that was at the Public Theater in I think 86, 87. And Mandy Patinkin was going to star in it. And it was about a man. He was married. He had kids. And he decides that he's transgender. And you then follow him going through his transition. Full disclosure, the show is bad.
Okay.
Show is bad.
Okay.
I mean, the script is bad. The score is bad. This is a bad show.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not even being nice. I included it because I'm like, it's important because it's the first time we're seeing a transgender person or character front and center of a story. That they had never done that before of a musical. They had never done that before. So I'm like, you get credit for that. You get props for that. But the show itself,
and that's what your book is about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about what the book is about, what the book is trying to further,
but this show is so bad. It's so
Interesting.
bad. It's so bad.
Because I was going to ask you, if I was like, would you ever do the knife at
No,
J2?
It's so bad. It's so poorly written. It's
Interesting.
so poorly written.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it like from like a trans perspective. I'm like, it's just not a it's just not a good show.
Yeah, that's
I was like,
what you've been taught. Like,
oh my God.
It's something that when it's what we were saying before. It's like you have this moment of going, well, that thing here, this lyric there, like this is not. And now everyone goes, that's a deterrent for trans music.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe it was the book. Maybe we have a deterrent for bad books or bad whatever.
I was going to mention,
but
maybe that and things that are unjustified.
and that's
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I was gonna mention that in the same regard as like you do wonder if it was good, how that could have changed things.
Oh, listen, we talked about this before. If it's think about Hamilton comes out, right? A history musical and it's hip hop, or it's contemporary music, right? 6 Suffs. The list is going to go on and on.
And they're coming, yeah.
It's successful, so they go, what other historical stories can we tell with a contemporary sound? Had The Knife been successful, how many other stories about transgender people could we tell? They didn't. They stopped. They said, look, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because the show was bad. It doesn't work because the transgender story isn't interesting. It doesn't work because the show is bad. Right. And that's people are very hesitant to take a chance on something after they've seen it fail once.
Right. And that's funny because I do look at something like Lacage, or I look at things like you mentioned Kinky Boots later on in the shows. Like those shows, they're evidence of things that do work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yet still, I'm not sure that you see a whole lot of, I mean, maybe not Kinky Boots as much because that's a little later, but like even after Lacage, I'm not sure that you see a whole lot of Lacage duplicates.
Lacage got fucked because it came out just as the AIDS crisis was hitting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I think had there not been an AIDS crisis, like the queer community would be so far advanced right now. In terms of acceptance, in terms of, I mean, all this shit. That AIDS crisis, it just stopped everything because nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew at the time like how you could get it. I can't remember if I mentioned this in the book. People used to bring seat covers to see Lacage. Audience members, they would lay plastic down on their seats and they would put handkerchiefs over their mouths because they didn't want to get AIDS from the actors. Like that's the mentality. There was the guy who was the lead in Lacage, Gene Barry. He wouldn't ride the elevator with any of the gay ensemble members because he's like, I don't want to get AIDS.
Wow.
So I mean, that was the mentality you were dealing with at the time. Right. So I think because of that, full disclosure, had AIDS not come around, I guarantee you there would have been gay music. It would have been there. Oh yeah, but it stopped everything. Huh. It stopped everything.
Wow.
So I think that's why we don't see a lot of those. Wow. Why that show didn't have like copycats.
And it's funny because that's honest.
Yeah.
Like there's like this. There's like as silly as it sounds, because you have to like remove yourself from it from just surely an empathetic perspective. You look at something like that and you go, if that's what I'm being taught, if that notion is the idea of, it's not even a homophobic thing. It's like you're like afraid of getting some sort of virus that you believe is coming from, which is it sounds crazy, and yet we dealt with it the last 5 years in a way.
I was going to say it's not unfamiliar to us because we had that in March and April and May of 2020. So like we kind of understand that, but that was the mentality of these audiences.
Bizarre.
Yeah. And then what's interesting is like as Lacage went on, they started changing their marketing because they were like, we don't want people to know it's about gay people. So the original like key art for it was like a guy in drag with like an anchor on his arm, like a sailor. And then by the time the show closed, it was a woman. It was a chorus girl with her leg being kicked up really, really high. So if you were like, oh, it's a straight show, it's about women. Huh. Oh yeah, they ran away from it for a while.
Wow.
But yeah, AIDS really fucked it up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so then how do you think then falsettos coming in the way that it did shifted what falsettos did is, and it's funny that falsettos wasn't mentioned in it because I'm like, falsettos feels like out of all of these 10 musicals, I feel like the one that like is like such a big, huge force is falsettos, and remains one. And then when it came back, it came back with a similar punch. Is like falsettos kind of took that narrative and flipped it on its head, and then was like, take a look at this. And what you get with falsettos is a perspective that had never been seen before across maybe all mediums in certain respects.
Yeah. Oh no, that is correct. That is correct across all mediums. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Falsettos, I think, is a great example of what we were just talking about. It's a musical about a family in crisis.
Yeah.
The family happens to be gay.
Right.
And they're dealing with the death of a loved one. The cause of death happens to be AIDS. It could have been cancer. It could have been leukemia. And that was the universal appeal about Falsettos to people because they could see themselves on that stage. They all have kids. They all have parents. They all have jobs they don't like. If they're Jewish, they understand like what that world, you know what I mean? So they could see themselves represented. And that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Lacage didn't do that. Lacage was like, it's a big drag club on the Riviera and it's funny and it's Falsettos was like literally holding a mirror up.
Right.
And that's what theater should do.
But also like Falsettos made you go like everybody knew somebody who had gone through like if it wasn't the AIDS crisis and you weren't from New York or you weren't from an inner city and let's say you didn't know anybody who had passed away from AIDS, it's like you look at how everyone knows somebody who passes away from cancer. Yeah. It's terrible. Well, that's it. And everyone does.
And the brilliance of Falsettos is they never mention AIDS. The word AIDS is never mentioned in the show. Yeah. You just assume that's what he's doing.
Do you think that was like a
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because it's not an AIDS show. It's about loss.
But do you think I'm saying like is it something that like they had pushed on him to not
that they pushed on him?
Well, like it being like, hey, let's avoid mentioning that.
I think he chose to not mention it. I think he chose not to mention it. He was very smart and I think he felt like if it gets that specific, it becomes a different show. What he wanted people to see was the universality of losing someone. Yeah. And if you don't know what the disease is, then you don't, if they go, well, he's dying of AIDS, that doesn't apply to me. I don't know anybody who died of AIDS. I'm not going to get it. You know what I mean? Then you become distanced from it. Right. But seeing somebody dying of something you don't know what it is, you can project your own memories onto it and your own experience onto it. He was very smart like that, William Finn.
Yeah, for sure. And then you have things like Kinky Boots, the Prom, and Hedwig, right? Like these are shows that are like, they're fun shows. Yeah. They're shows that carry like such like everyone's sitting there and having a great time, and they don't really care. Like they don't really care about the thing that it's funny enough. The thing that's like important here, and the reason why it's in your book, is not the thing that they're watching these shows for. Yes. Does that make sense? Yes. And like you go to see the Prom and you're what you're watching, you're like, this is a musical comedy. And it's what I mean? Fun. And Kinky Boots has a similar thing, it's like fun. Yeah. So I think that those shows are a testament to the idea that you don't need to hammer, you don't even need to have like a dramatic, undertone or force to get your point across.
Entertainment, people want to come, listen, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, right? Isn't that the expression? Yeah. Entertain them, and at the same time, maybe they'll walk away with an education. Yeah. Like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I think Hairspray does this very well. Mm-hmm. Hairspray is fun, and it's frothy, and it's enjoyable. And at the end, you've learned something about tolerance. Mm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Prom is the same way. Yeah. The mistake I think people are making now is they're reversing it. We have to educate you. And there will be no entertainment. Right. This is too serious a subject. Right. And so then I sit there and I'm like, I'm paying $200 to get yelled at. Yeah. And I'm probably agreeing with what you're saying already. Right. You know what I mean? So I think that's a problem for a lot of audiences.
And unfortunately, for what it's worth, and this is like this is a bigger discussion about education in general, is like kids, but people in general don't want to necessarily feel like they're being educated.
No.
Does that make sense?
No.
It's a point rather than a perspective. I mean, a prime example of that I find to be like Into the Woods. Yeah. And where you go, no more into No One Is Alone, and children will listen, is you going, hey man, take this how you may.
Yes.
However you want to. It still doesn't do the story. Yeah. I'm not breaking and saying, fuck you, audience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying is you may have thought this whole thing actually.
Yes.
And, he was a master of doing that. Cabaret with If You Could See It From My Eyes.
Brilliant.
But he's not saying screw you for thinking that. Mm-mm. He's saying,
hello.
And that's the point. Like, that's what makes effective, impactful theater, where you're going in, you're being entertained, you're watching an engaging story, and at the end, you've learned something about humanity. And I think we're forgetting that. And when we're seeing a lot of new shows that are like important shows or shows that have like an issue to them, it's about you will walk away from this theater with this opinion, and if you don't, you're a horrible person. Now let's dance. Like it's like, but that's like the tone of it. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It is funny.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what it is.
Yeah, it's true. Bear, I want to talk about Bear because Bear is a show that I found through like when I was looking for college audition material.
Yes, as well you should. Good.
Oh my gosh, like people, and then I thought it was unique. And then apparently I heard so many people were like, yeah, Role of a Lifetime is in my book as well.
Oh,
Like,
okay, great. Yeah, it's one of those.
But regardless, really interesting show.
Yeah.
Really, what I thought was interesting in that chapter was that you had mentioned that in that show, which Bear is, I don't think Bear ever came to Broadway.
It did not. Never came to Broadway.
But it had originated in LA.
It did.
Funny enough.
It did.
In like a small
was
space.
good.
Was supposed to go a couple weeks, and then it wound up going 6 months.
Yeah.
And then moves to New York and has a pretty successful life, has a cast recording, and people still remember it. What was I getting at with? Oh, the Romeo and Juliet point.
Yeah.
Right? The point that people cited as like one of the few really actually strong representations of Romeo and Juliet within this story.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So good.
Yeah.
It captured the essence of what the Romeo and Juliet story is. I think a lot of times when people try to do a modern Romeo and Juliet, they're so dogmatic about like having to follow the structure and having to follow the
Almost
template.
too faithful.
Bear was like, no. It's the essence. The essence of
Right.
the show is what happens when you love someone and society says you can't be with them.
Yeah.
And then they just went from there.
Right.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Bear is one of those shows that every like college I know did it because there's parts in it for everybody.
Yeah.
Like anybody, you're a larger individual. Great. There's a character for you. You're an individual of color. Great. There's a character for you. You're the straight guy. Great. There's a character for you. There's like something for everybody in there, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. That's what it should be.
Yeah, for sure. But in talking about Leroy, why did you dedicate the book to Leroy?
Oh, because like, one of the things I was discovering in the research of the book was like the fact that like so many people that were gay were embarrassed to be gay. They didn't want to come out as gay. It was going to affect their career. I mean, a lot of gay people that are still in Hollywood that are very successful that are still closeted as can be. And they're afraid to come out. What I love about Leroy is since the guy been in this business 50, 60 plus years, he's always been out. He's always been openly gay. He played the first openly gay character in a musical. He himself. He himself has always been openly gay. Right. He and Bob only got married the last 3 years of Bob's life, but they had been together 50 years.
Amazing.
So I was like, this guy, he's what this book is about. It's about heroes. It's about people stepping forward going, we want to be more visible. He never ran. Yeah. The man never ran.
Yeah.
And I was like, he deserves some sort of credit for that.
It's very bold.
Yeah, I was going to do a paragraph on him in the book, and then I was like, fuck it. I'm dedicating the whole goddamn thing to him. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Yeah. And he's still doing his thing. I mean, he's 82, and he is just like, he still does his 54 Below show. He sees theater all the time.
He's always out. He's always holding court somewhere.
Yeah.
And I love him. I just love him. And as a kid, I grew up listening to 42nd Street and like watching him on the Tony Awards and stuff.
Right.
And so once again, like I was saying before, I still get a little kick out of the fact, like, have you had told me years ago that I'd be palling around with him?
Crazy.
You don't take it for granted. So I want to dedicate the book to him.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to cap Bear. Okay, we talked about Bear, and then Fun Home, which was obviously huge for all of the reasons that were like. Fun Home was, even as someone who was adjacent to theater at the time, who wasn't seeing as much Broadway, everyone knew about Fun Home.
Fun Home was great.
And it was a huge thing. Like Fun Home feels like one of the most famous ones out of this 10.
Yeah.
Maybe the most famous one in certain respects. Ring of Keys. That was such
the Ring of Keys moment.
Yeah, it was like a big moment for and I don't know, there was something about it, and obviously Janine Tesori just wrote it so well, right?
But even though it's about this girl discovering her sexuality and her father also being gay, it's universal. Yeah, it's universal. It was a story. We all have parents, right? And it's like, how do you talk to your parents, right? Like, how do you see your parent as a human being? What's that moment when you realize that your parent isn't perfect, or like when the middle Allison loses her virginity. Like, you don't have to lose your virginity to somebody of the same sex, but it's like we've all had that experience. We've all had those feelings. Right. So that's what I think is captured so beautifully in it. The shows that are the most successful are the ones that have a universality to them. Right. Like Falsettos, like Fun Home.
Right.
You know, and those are the ones that people want to see.
And yet they still pack a punch to the people who know that experience more than anyone else.
Exactly. And I think you had brought up Fiddler on the Roof before. You don't have to be Jewish to understand that like families are families.
Right.
In the Heights, you don't have to be Latinx to know what a chosen family in a community is.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
true.
Those to me are the shows that are the most successful. The ones that aren't successful when they're a single issue show.
Yeah.
It's all about being gay.
Right.
It's
right.
all about being Latinx.
Right.
Well,
right.
then how do I learn about this world?
Right. Because exactly. Well, exactly that is that like I'm going like this all feels like one big inside joke. You know, and I'm going like, well, I'm really happy that you guys have it, but I don't
Then what's
know.
the point? Then why are you telling me this story?
Yeah, yeah.
This is you know, this is I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's not sequestered, but it's like, what the hell am I trying to say? Help me out.
It's just like an argument. You're like, man, I'm having an argument with someone. I'm like, man, you're messed up. You're messed up. You're messed up. And it's like, do you want me to change?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you do, and if you want what's helpful for me, either you could just say, either you think I'm doing it on purpose,
yeah,
or you think it's by accident. Both ways, you would still want that option.
Exactly.
It would be more helpful if you let me in.
Let me in. Let me understand something about your world that I don't know. Let me walk a mile in your shoes, and this show is going to be the conduit for me to do that.
Yeah.
And that's when I get nervous, when they're like, well, no, you can't. It's our shoes. Well, then how am I supposed to understand your world? How am I supposed to understand your perspective?
Right.
If you're telling me I can't participate in it.
Right. And you know, it's funny, like we talk about it all the time with like the people who say that they don't like musicals, right? And that's a conversation that we have we have that conversation all the time. But I'll tell you, if I had to convince somebody to like musicals, depending on what their reasoning is for what they don't like about it, I would choose very wisely, right? Is that I wouldn't go, what do you mean you don't like musicals? Have you seen X, Y, and Z? And then I'll show you a musical that like I love. It's like, that's not the way to access to get you into my, you know what I mean? The way that I'm going to get you in is I'm going to go, do you like horror? Great. You should check out Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
And suddenly you'll like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was just like, do you know, you don't have to be in Forbidden Love to know love. I can watch West Side Story and still like,
yes.
I had Forbidden Love, but I know love.
Yeah.
As well as, you know.
Yes.
As well.
It's that chastising of it that you're like, why are you chastising? You know, how dare you not like musicals?
Right.
Well, what the fuck is that? You think he's going to like musicals now? You just yelled at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why now he's really not going to like it.
Right.
What scares me is I think we're doing this now in a lot of shows that are quote unquote important shows.
Sure.
Where it's like we're yelling at the audience for not understanding something.
Yeah.
You have to let them in.
Yeah.
You have to let them in.
And sometimes it's like perverse in the sense that like if you look at marketing tactics and we look at like the lens, for a long time the embrace of the pride flag on all of these logos was like a big positive thing.
Yeah.
And now it's become a widespread negative thing where people feel a type of way that it's just a marketing tool and you're not actually using it. And the reason why they feel that way is because it's true.
Because it's true.
You know what I mean? If we're looking at it, the big companies that we're talking about, I discovered this like really young, where I realized all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, this big company is coming out with TV shows and movies that are conservative and liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming, they actually don't have a side. Their side is the corporate side. You know what I mean? So if they feel like this angle will make them money, then that's the angle they're headed.
Whatever side gives them the most profit.
Right.
And I think we just saw that with that Jimmy Kimmel situation, right? Where ABC was like, we're taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air. He insulted Charlie Kirk. This is a tragedy. Because they thought
they nailed it.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, this is the general consensus. We got it.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, good. We're not going to lose income here. Then all those people pulled out of their Hulu subscriptions. And then they said, well, we might have made a mistake. You know, we acted. It's a free country. It's a free speech.
But not only that, it wasn't only that. I think it was the people who would have, in theory, been with them. Like even Ted Cruz came out and was like, no,
don't do that.
If I'm pro free speech, then I can't be pro this. So that, and I think about James, like it resembled to me. Nobody talked about it, but it resembled to me the James Gunn situation, where James Gunn was fired after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 by Disney. He was fired for a tweet that was like from years ago that he had apologized for already, etc. And it was that era where they were just like, oh, we got to cover our asses. And then when he was fired, people came out and were like, what are you doing? Yeah. He got a job with DC. They brought him back. Now the man's running DC because he's like, you guys made a mistake.
Yes.
But because the moral line doesn't really exist. No. It's just, we got to go with the curve.
We got to go with the curve where we can't lose money.
Right.
We can't lose money, which is sad, but it's always been this way.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a new thing.
Right.
It's not a new thing. It's just
it does make you wonder sometimes, or it makes me wonder sometimes, is where is the line, right? That always, there are times where you look at we brought this up recently. It's like there are times where you look at things like the civil rights movement and you go, how could people have thought that? And then I get older and I was like, no, I totally understand how people got warped within this like idea that's a little bit that loses free thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guarantee you 30, 40 years from now, your kids will be like, Dad, how could you have ever thought?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, it's true. It goes on.
Yeah,
it's true.
I feel like even to some extent, like COVID.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, what was I thinking?
That was a whole year of your life. I'm like, that's history.
You gain perspective.
We knew when we were in it, we were living in history.
Yeah.
And let alone this industry that we're in, it's like how many things. I mean, hypothetically, if they never have to wear a mask in the theater, telling them about that will be a time, and it almost makes you kind of like excited because I'm like, I want to tell you that. I want to tell you about that
time. Yep.
Yeah, because it's like Pride Pills, where it's like it's so rare.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you finished the book, or you got close to finishing the book, and you were like, because this is the first book you've ever written.
Yeah.
Right? Was there a moment where you got there and you were like,
I can drink now?
Oh, what a sigh of relief. Well, it's true. Like, what a sigh of relief of like,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're saying that with a lot of hesitation.
No, I'm trying to think like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. When I got done, I was like, oh good. I can like smoke out now. I don't know. Like I can drink. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I felt good. It felt good, like to finish it. If that's what you.
Well, I guess there's like this. Did you feel like you had accomplished something that was like?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what it's like? You write something, you do something, you put it out there. You're like, I don't know. I hope people are happy with it.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people are.
Oh, that's good.
I think you felt a lot of the love too, right?
I've been very lucky. The response has been really positive and enthusiastic. It's been selling out everywhere, which has been really good.
I couldn't find a drama bookshop for
that. Hey, that's great. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. No, what I felt really proud about was I think I did what I set out to do, which is like I wanted these people and these titles to be remembered,
right,
and preserved and codified,
right,
and I did that.
Yeah,
it's like probably when you do the podcast, like you don't have a studio audience here telling you what's working, what's not working,
right.
All you can do is go at the end of today's episode. You can either go, I feel really good about that, or I didn't feel good about that, but tomorrow there'll be another guest.
Right.
It was sort of the same thing with the book. Like, I think I set out what I wanted to do. Now, if people like it, that's in their hands.
Yeah. Because I think about it with like theater, where you wake up on that Monday after closing, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's noon, and I slept in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. There are some things now where I'm like, somebody will mention something, and I'm like, oh fuck, did I put that in there?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I should have added that. Or how could I have forgotten this? Or oh no, I forgot to take that comma out.
Yeah.
But like little things like that. But I don't know. It's somebody else. You create it. It's somebody else's to listen to now.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, I hope people like it. I hope people like it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, and I certainly did.
Oh, good. Thanks.
What I really appreciated about it, I'll tell you, like from my own personal perspective as a reader, is that I'm getting better at reading. I'm getting better, but I've always struggled with reading comprehension since I was little for some reason, and I find myself, I get very easily distracted.
Same.
When I go and read. I like reading on the ferry and on the train, but I get very easily distracted even on the ferry and on the train because that person just walked by and they look like they're angry, and I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
I'm the same. Yeah.
Oh man, and so that being said, with this book, I really was able to make it through a lot of it pretty seamlessly because I was engaged and there wasn't a lot of fat.
Oh, good.
And that was the thing, because even when I was like, I wonder how this is going to conclude, and he'll probably do like this long conclusion where he did, and there wasn't that. There isn't.
We're done.
Yeah, and you really made sure to still have a button to it. There was still a button to it without being like, in conclusion.
Oh no, I don't. Like that shit.
And it's that was the way that we were taught to write in certain respects, right? Is like,
but in conclusion to me means it's done. We're done. I'm like, it's not. This shit ain't done.
Right.
There's. Come to me in 10 years, I bet you I could find 10 new shows to put into this book.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm like, it's yours now, guys. Like you write the next chapter.
Yeah. That's special. That's awesome.
Also, too lazy to do a conclusion. So so if that does anything for you. But I like the first answer. It sounds
the first answer was very eloquent, I thought.
Thanks.
Let's talk about what's next for you. You're doing Frozen.
I am doing Frozen.
You've done Frozen before.
I have.
What you're doing, we should mention, you're doing Frozen A.C.T. in
A.C.T. of Connecticut, yeah.
And that starts up next year, right?
It starts up next year, and we open, I think, February 5th.
Exciting.
2026, yeah.
What are you most excited about? And what is the reason that you're returning for Frozen? This is like your third production of Frozen, am I right?
My second, but by the end of 2026, I think I'll have done 2 more.
Gotcha. What is it about Frozen? What is the thing that you love about Frozen?
What a great question. I still have not seen the movie, so I think I need to see the movie.
No way.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie.
What?
I've never seen
I'm
the movie.
not even shocked as like a fan. I'm just like, wow, that you would do that without having seen the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Thanks, I haven't seen it yet.
So what
Hope it's
kind
good.
What
It snows
you've
and she
seen-
sings, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. What kind of? So then you're coming in with a whole different perspective. Then did you see it when it was on Broadway?
I did. I
did.
did see it on
did.
Broadway.
Yeah,
I did see it on Broadway.
How much of it, when you look at a piece like that, because now, unlike the projects that we talked about with J2, having seen that on Broadway, having known you said you don't know the movie, but having known certain aspects of it, are you nabbing things? Are you coming into a complete blank slate?
No. There was, okay, like when you do a big show like this, you're like, there's some things that, you have to hit.
Yeah.
Her dress has to rip off.
You're
Right?
right.
She got to have, she sings Let It Go, the dress goes away.
Of course.
Okay. I got that. Anything else? No, we're okay. So if you can get the big, like, iconic moments,
Yeah.
great. Everything else you get to play around with.
Nice.
And what's important, the big thing for me on these shows is like, these are going to be a lot of kids' first time coming to see a live theatrical production.
It's huge.
This is why I return to the shows so much, because you only have this one shot to ensure a future generation of theater goers. You only get one. Because if this kid comes, right, the mom and dad drag the fucking kid to come. Sorry. If the mom and dad drag the kid to come out and see the show, right? And then the kid starts fidgeting and is bored and is restless, and mom goes, I got to take the kid out. Okay. The next time, mom's going to go, hey, honey, they're doing this show. They're doing Moana now. We should go see it. No, you remember, the kid didn't have a good time. Kid's never going to see another show again.
Yeah.
So you get one chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the generation to ensure that they're going to come see shows again.
Right.
So that's why I love doing these shows. Like, never seen the movie. Don't really have a lot of like
Personal
attachment to the film. I just did Wizard of Oz this past summer.
Yeah.
First time watching The Wizard of Oz was the night before our first rehearsal.
Oh my god.
Because I know. Don't get angry at me. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
They took my gay card away too, to be like Wizard of Oz.
You saw Wicked before Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
I saw Wicked before Wizard of Oz.
Oh my goodness.
I saw Wicked before Wizard of Oz. It was good. I liked it. Can't wait for part 2. But I'm like, that to me is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if you fuck this up, you've just lost it. Not only have you lost a theater goer for the rest of your life, that kid, when they grow up and they have kids, probably not going to take their kids to theater because they're not familiar with it. Right. Or they remember, oh my God, I remember my mom took me to this show. It was so boring. We're not going to do that to our kid. So I'm like, you got to give them a great experience. So that's why I return to it. Yeah. It's not the story. Yes, the story is great and it's wonderful and the music is great. Yes. But this idea of you have to ensure a future generation of theater goers, that to me is what's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting.
That's what I look forward to, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember when Kirsten was doing it on the cruise, and I remember going to see all these shows that happen on the cruise, and like all these kids are there, and I'm going to myself, gosh, like this is a crazy thing, but like 90% of some of the kids, some of the people's first time in a theater.
Yes.
It is remarkable what kind of thing that Disney, and it's because of these movies, it's because of the things, and it's like, and that part of it is special,
People can shit on Disney all they want. They got an entire new generation to come see Broadway shows. Yeah. With Beauty and the Beast and with Lion King. Like, that's important. Yeah. So don't shit on them all the time. In the 90s, when Disney came to Broadway, everyone shat all over them. Of course. They were like, this is a theme. Broadway is not a theme park. It's not a theme park. Okay, it's not a theme park, but you're losing people because I'm sorry, no 5-year-old wants to go watch Passion. Yeah. And I'm sorry, as great as Into the Woods is, it's not for kids, it's for adults.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they are ensuring a new generation is coming in. So you can shit on them all they want. We wouldn't have jobs if it wasn't for them.
And also,
so I
for
think
what
Disney's
it's worth,
important.
they didn't do the bigger thing about it too is that they didn't half-ass it.
They didn't half-ass it.
They came in and gave you that and then some. And there's a reason why these Disney shows on Broadway are different than the shows that you're seeing in the theme parks, or even the shows that you're seeing on the cruise line.
The most brilliant fucking thing Disney ever did, honestly, was to be like, we're going to give you Beauty and the Beast, which was pretty much the movie on stage. And then they're like, and now we're going to do The Lion King. And it's going to be the artsiest thing you've ever seen in your life. To do that 180, to be like, fuck you, you don't think we can be artistic.
Right.
I was like, that's genius.
And also you employ people who are, you know, like creme de la creme. You know what I mean? Like Alan Menken and Howard Ashman are...
we call Howard Ashman like top 10 like lyricists.
One of the greatest lyricists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A genius.
And they're both coming, they're not pulling back any punches. These are people who are like really, really meant to, you know, like Alan Menken, are we kidding? Like, you know what I mean? Musical theater legend and Disney legend, you know?
Oh,
like,
the best.
So that's a big part of it too. Similar thing with the Lopez's or...
Oh my God, yeah. They're great.
Lynn now, who's
It's everything.
So, you know, that's a big part of it, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think Disney should get more credit than they deserve. You don't have to like the shows, I get that. But like, oh my God, look what they did. So that's why I like going to Frozen so much, because you have to make sure, it makes you work at the top of your game.
Yeah, that is
because
exciting.
there's more at stake here than if you were doing a regular show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a little game that we have people do, and this is always such a big. People have a lot of opinions on this.
Oh, I love this.
I want to
Okay,
ask you
shit, here we go.
to give me your Mount Rushmore musicals. Okay, and now, I know you're a historian, and you can wear that hat a little bit, but give me your Mount Rushmore musicals.
Oh, that I just love?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, Gypsy.
And you can give me 5.
I can give you 5?
Yeah, even though I know Mount Rushmore's 4, whatever, 5.
Shit. Okay, 5. Okay, Gypsy is on there.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd's on there.
Uh-huh.
No Nanette is on there. Did somebody else?
Yeah, Richard Ridge came on here. And
Richie Ridge did it?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
No Nanette. Yeah, and Christian was in No Nanette in high school.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah. He's one of the few people.
Oh, wait. Okay, good. I feel good now. I get 2 more?
Yeah.
I get 2 more. I get, I got to think. Shit. I'm so sorry for the dead air. Did I say Hello, Dolly?
No,
Hello, Dolly.
Yeah.
And then, I need something more contemporary. You know what show I really like? I like Dear Evan Hansen.
Great. Yeah, I'll take it.
Those love
are your
it.
personal. Now, give me.
I don't think he's problematic.
Now, where you're.
I really don't. Everyone's like, oh, he's so problematic. I'm like,
Oh, that would be a big argument with him.
Do you think he's problematic?
Out of the theater, Evan Hansen.
Did you really got angry?
I
at
didn't.
him?
When we first saw it, no, it's only After Effect. It feels like everyone's had this aftermath effect where they're like, gosh, I don't know that he paid the consequences for what he. It's now that I'm coming back to like the like I told you is like the epitome of like getting what you want and paying for it is like he got the thing that he wanted, and now I can look. I went through, you know what it is? I went through like a hills and valleys with Dear Evan Hansen. I love Dear Evan Hansen regardless of the, you know, like from the music and whatnot, since that was like one of the first Broadway shows we ever saw. But I think now I can sit back and look at it and go like, well, he did pay for what he wanted, and then he did get what he wanted, and then he paid for it after. You know, he still did pay for it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
Teensy bit. He paid for it just a teensy.
not a teensy bit. There was this girl that he loved, and he's not going to get her, and he's never going to get her, and that's what it is. And a second family that he'll never have.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think he did anything. Well, never mind.
Oh wow, you're going that far, Rob. Wow.
Here's what he did.
Oh,
here's
boy.
what he did. I'm gonna. Can I give a quick defense?
Go
to
for
him?
it. Go for it.
This family was convinced that their child hated them. Right? The family is convinced. We were horrible parents. We pretty much drove our kid to killing himself.
Yeah.
That's how they. That's what's the name of the parents in it? The family.
Larry and Cynthia.
Cynthia sounds right.
Cynthia.
So these people are
the mom.
broken beyond belief, and they look at this kid and they go, "You were his friend who he never had friends," and this guy attempts to do something nice. He doesn't deny it. He says, "Yeah, we were friends, and he loved you." and the parents that were broken are now getting healed. I don't know. I think like, yes, it can be kind of dicey, but he's not operating from the point of view of like, I'm going to get money out of this, or I'm going to get to go fuck the sister. He's going, oh my God, they're broken. How can I help fix them?
There's a bit of his teensy bit of that is, I mean, forget the girl if you take away the rest of that.
Yeah.
It's his attention a little bit, definitely like the attention that he never had. He's definitely seeking, and I agree. It's all the time, quote, nice is different than good.
Yeah.
Right, he was coming from a place of being nice. I do agree with that. But coming from a place of being good, the deceiving part, I'm like, I don't know.
And it's also hard to forget the girlfriend because there's 2 songs about the girlfriend. You know, like it's hard to forget the girlfriend.
That's the point of the show.
Yeah.
That is like, at least that's the point of the relationship.
But I do see what you're saying in the sense that the family got a big part out of it too. They walked away from it he helped them grieve in a certain respect.
Not only did he allow them to grieve, they were able to forgive themselves. This family is convinced that they did this. They didn't see the signs with their son. The one time we see them as a family, they're yelling at each other. They carry such guilt.
Right.
And he absolves them. And not only does he say, not only did you have nothing to do with it, he loved you. And I'm like, yes, it's a lie, but he's...
Does that matter? Yeah.
Well, the question of it being is that while he did help the family forgive themselves, should they have forgive themselves? Is the real question, because I go like,
yes.
Well, they might have cost us. You know what I mean? They really might have. So maybe they shouldn't have been able to forgive themselves so easily. You know?
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I mean,
this is such a perspective I did not have. Like you talk about the family, I appreciate that.
Well, that's the thing. And also, what drives me crazy is people go, "Well, he didn't apologize." I'm like, who did he have to apologize to? Well, he didn't apologize to the world. He doesn't owe the world an apology.
Right.
This world jumped onto his. This
Right,
world all wanted to
no,
grieve.
Yeah. No.
It's like Crystalline Lloyd's character, who was like, she didn't give the guy the time of day, but now that he's dead, now she can use him as and I see people do that all the time.
Right, yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't think he's as bad and as problematic as everyone says he is. He was doing something that was good that got out of hand.
Yeah.
But he wasn't coming in like a con man. So I don't know. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, he never had a family.
Yeah.
They never had a son. They're pretending that this is filling a void for each other.
Right.
So I don't know if he owes anybody an apology. He owes the family an apology, but he doesn't owe all these random fucking strangers an apology.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and for the record,
it made you feel better. Was the point, not his experience.
That's my thing on it. I will be honest with you. I remember seeing the show and everybody around me was fucking crying. I wasn't crying. I was like, why is everybody so... I found it intellectually interesting.
Yeah.
Because like, what do you do in that situation?
Right.
He has the ability to save a family from grief.
Right.
And he takes it. And I was like, that's interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that we're able to have this debate on it and there are such strong opinions on it really is telling of its own. On its own. Yeah.
And it also could be a generational thing. Because I know a lot of young people that are like fuck him. And like, he's a horrible person. He did this and he did that. And I'm like, but his intent, he was trying to do something good.
Right.
He wasn't benefiting from it.
He wasn't a villain.
He wasn't financially. It wasn't about sleeping with the daughter. I was like, he's trying to help a family he knows what pain is. He sees pain every day he looks in the mirror. So he's seeing it on these people and he goes, well, maybe I can help absolve them of it.
And then subsequently absolving his own.
And then absolve his own. Yeah.
Interesting is the actor playing it both ways. I feel like you can there's room for both choices of the actor just being someone.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
And also, the text is kind of good enough to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
although I will say, I mean, like, yes, but that would be a stark choice. And as a director, I think if you really went that direction, then you got to go that direction all the way.
Yeah.
All the way, you know.
But I think you could, because then I think if he's manipulative, then I think all of social media is manipulative. Then I think it just keeps running throughout this entire show.
Yeah, because you're right. Because Alana becomes that much more of a villain, and so does Jared in a certain respect, and like all these other things become twisted. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't find him to be as problematic as
Interesting.
others do, and that's okay.
Interesting.
Because I never thought about the family.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right.
I put that into
You're right.
perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
He could easily. They could have said to him, "We found the letter. You knew our son." He could have easily said, "No, it was something else that I was." He could have been honest.
Yeah.
But there's a reason he chooses not to be, and I think it's because he goes, "Oh my God, they're in so much pain."
And they kind of need a son.
And they need a son. He doesn't have parents, and they don't have a son.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not it's a great opportunity, but not like a.
No, there's something there.
It's not like I said. It's not duplicitous. He's not going to be like, and now you're going to put me in the will, right, mom and dad, or like or like, hey sis, let's go to the bedroom. It's not that. It's two broken people looking at each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I to me, that's what I find interesting about the show.
Yeah, there is. There definitely.
But that's just. I mean,
No,
that's
there
me.
is.
So I don't
There
know.
is.
So that would be on
Yeah.
my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Next to no.
Next.
Which is very problematic. She's problematic.
And then I'm gonna have you give me Mount Rushmore directors in the theater.
Oh, George Abbott, Hal Prince, Bob Fosse, and I get one more.
You get two more.
I get two more.
Yeah, we're gonna do 5 for this one too.
Who do I love Joe Mantello. I think he's such a fucking genius. And Jack O'Brien.
Jack O'Brien. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Maybe I want to put Rachel Chafkin in there
She's great.
because I think she's a fucking genius.
She is great. She's brilliant.
Maybe God, I wish somebody was Siamese and like a Siamese twin or something.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, an honorable mention.
An honorable mention.
Yeah.
I think the
I love
honorable
that.
mention will be Rachel Chafkin.
Yeah, yeah. I've gotten to a place, like, for me, I know, like, David Cromer is taking me to a place where, like, he's so good that I'm like, with him, for me, David Cromer and Michael Arden, those are two people that I'm like, I will go see anything you do.
Yeah.
And David Cromer in particular, I mean, Michael Arden too, but David Cromer in particular is working all the time. He's constantly working. Whenever he's finished with one piece, he's on to the next.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'll try to see anything that he's doing. I have to see that Meet the Cartosians. I haven't seen that.
I want to see that too.
Yeah,
I didn't even mention Jerry Zaks. I feel
Yeah,
like
Jerry Zaks
should
too.
be
Yeah,
on
Jerry
there.
Zaks. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, God, I need to think about that more because
Yeah,
each of them
it's
would fill a specific niche.
Of course.
I think.
Of course. You'd write a book about it.
I could write a book about with no conclusion.
You've been known to write books about things like this, Rob.
I get bored.
We have a tradition on our podcast and where we manifest a dream guest. So we want you to manifest someone for us to have on the show, to be sitting in this chair.
I want you to have Lonnie Price.
Yes, I love it. We'll take Lonnie Price.
I want you to have Lonnie Price.
I would love to speak to Lonnie
the
Price.
greatest guy who ever lived.
Yeah.
Really, the best.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. He's working on something right now too that I'm
Yes. Oh shit.
well, there was the Peter Pan tour that was recent, but then there was something that he's doing. or
Beaches.
bringing
I know
back.
he's doing Beaches.
Oh, he's doing Beaches? I
and
didn't
there's
know that.
something else too
There's
that
something
he's
else.
doing.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know
God,
he was
I
doing
love him
Beaches.
so much.
Very cool.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
he's so
the
good.
best. I've never met him.
Who's been some of your favorite guests on here?
Some of my favorite guests.
Not to put you on the spot.
No, yeah. Because people have asked me this. Well, Andy Carl was a really special one for me.
Yeah.
Mark Hobie is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. The episode that we just did with Jerry Zaks it really lives up there. It's one of my favorites we've ever done. We just released Douglas Lyons. I think he's just so smart. He's great. And that episode inspired me on a level that I didn't expect it to, where I was like, oh my gosh, I think I want to go write. I want to go write something. And that inspired me on a different level. Who else? Obviously Michelle Pock, who's like, She
was your mentor, right?
She is my mentor. Yeah, I call her my theater fairy godmother.
I love that.
Randy Graff.
Randy was the first guest I ever had on my podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Randy was our
she's
first.
The best. She's
The best.
really great, and I've developed a relationship with her, and I take class with her now, and she's.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, and
God,
she's
she's
just
good.
so smart.
Tell her
and
I said hi the next time
She's
you
doing
see her.
Pen Pals.
Yes.
With Beth Level.
Yeah, great.
In the new year, yeah. So yeah, those are like off the top of my head. Those are some of my favorites. And then getting the chance to speak to people who I like the casting director side of things. I totally did not like.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? And I should ask you a little bit about that. It's like the auditions and what you're seeing. Oftentimes, the thing that you're seeing when you have actors come in to audition for you is like the thing that the first thing you're looking for in an audition.
Choices.
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for is choices. They don't even have to be the right choice.
Uh-huh.
I just need somebody to come in with a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of actors don't.
Really?
A lot of actors come in, they haven't really looked at they haven't really figured out what they want to say about the material.
Huh.
A lot of actors, especially like younger actors for some reason, they come in like a blank slate, and I think their feeling is the director will fill me up. The director will tell me, be angrier or be more sympathetic.
Right.
So I'm going to present a neutral reading of it.
Right.
I don't fucking want that. Like, even if it's 180 degrees away from what my vision is, that's fine. We'll work. And maybe your vision's better than what I'm imagining.
Right.
But I want that. I want big, bold choices.
Well, how often is it that you see somebody come in for, say, a Hans, or Hans is not an example, but like a Christoph, and you go, I think they could do Duke of Wesselton.
A lot.
You know what I mean? Like,
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes they'll come in for Christoph and I'll be like, they're not right for Frozen, but I am doing a show in 2 months that they are right for.
Right.
And I'll keep them in mind for that. But no. There are a lot of times where actors come in and I'm like, you're not auditioning for what I think is the right role for you in my vision of this story.
Right. And how do you, I mean, like, this sounds silly, but like, how are you able to identify that? Because I'll tell you, like, there are times where I'm looking at and I'm going like, you would never know, but you watch somebody like, I don't know, like an Annalie Ashford, right? She just came to my mind right away. It's like, or I can't think of anyone on top of my head, but I look at them and I go like, well, they can do both of these things. And there are times where they're such stark, Anna and Elsa, right? How many people fit both of those parts? Yeah. And yet how many people don't?
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of that. And I mean, those characters are iconic. I'm using them because of like Frozen off the top of my head. But regardless, fill in the blank is like somewhere you go like, oh, she has a bite to her, and I could see her as an ingenue, but also she could do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how are you able to identify that?
If there's something that they're bringing in would benefit the character in a way that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So, for example, if somebody comes in and she's auditioning for Elsa, and she does have a bite to her,
right?
But she maybe vocally she can't do Elsa for whatever reason.
Sure.
I'll go, what if Anna had more of a bite to her?
What if?
Well, that's fine. That's exactly. But I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think an actor's job is you come in, you present yourself, you present your choices, then it's out of your hands.
Yeah.
Let us play and figure out maybe there's a trait there that we could use somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Some actors get bent out of shape.
Sure.
When you're like, hey, I know you came in to read for Elsa, but would you read for Anna? And then they go, well, but I'm Elsa. Maybe in someone else's version of Frozen, you're Elsa. But in this one, you might be a really good Anna.
Yeah, and there also is something to the idea of like having a take. So if you tell me that I'm going to read for Anna right now, I'm going to look at the material and I'm going, well, I know I resonate with that, and the last girl didn't, and so maybe I can
That's what we want. But that's what we want. You just had Mary Sugarman on, right?
Yeah.
Did you ask her the same thing to which she looks for? Yeah, she's the best.
She is. She's great.
She's so good.
Like that's another one. Who I'm like, I love Mary. That whole office I love, and we've had a couple people from Tara Rubin, but like I people like that I couldn't believe that I was sitting across from them, and I'm like discussing things, and they're telling me things, and I'm going, oh, that validates something, or that doesn't. I did not know that.
Well, that's the other thing. I always tell people, like, there's no right way of doing this.
Yeah.
Because if there was, somebody would have written a book about it, and we'd all be millionaires right now.
Right, like a Bible.
Yeah, but we're all on our own path.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to anybody.
Right.
That's like the big thing for me. I'm like, don't compare yourself.
Which is really hard to do, right?
I know.
It's because of that, right? We want to be able to look at this medium as I was speaking to this girl. It's so funny. I was speaking to this girl yesterday. We got out of a class, and she was, or a couple of days ago, and she was like, I come from math. She had a math history. She had studied mathematics, and she was like, so it's sometimes really difficult for me to not fit my choices, my this, my that, into an equation format. She was like, because I can take certain variables, plug them into this, and I get the same answer, or it makes sense to me. Whereas with this, sometimes I do that and the person likes it, and then sometimes I do it and they don't, and they're telling me that what I'm doing is not, so then who do you trust?
You.
Yeah.
You trust you.
Yeah.
Because I might show you something that's brilliant and show him, and he goes, that's horrible.
Right.
You're not wrong. You're not right. He's not wrong. He's not right.
Right.
It's you just have to trust your gut. Right. And I wish more that maybe that's what I'm saying when it comes to like auditioning and stuff. I wish more people would just trust their fucking gut.
Right.
And be like, I have actors who are like, oh, I'm coming in for Elsa and I want to do this with it. But I know on Broadway, whoever did it. If I wanted whoever, I'd ask them.
Yeah.
I want you.
Right.
What are you going to bring to the role?
Right.
I don't give a shit about like, oh, Kristen Chenoweth played it 20 years ago. So I'm one of the best versions of Popular I ever saw in my life was a girl who had never seen Wicked. She had never seen it. She never listened to it. And she was like, okay, I'm going to sing this song. It was the best because she was coming in. There was no pre-existing thing in her mind. And that's what excites me as a director.
Right.
You're coming in fresh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. So Lonnie Price, we'll take
Lonnie.
it. I love it. I love it. And lastly, we started the podcast by asking you who was your I want to be like you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And we want to end the podcast by asking you who's your I want to be like you now.
Now, besides
It could
you?
be- oh, hey. But you know what's funny is like people have asked me this question. It's like someone asked me recently, like, so your podcast is called I want to be like you. Who's your I want to be like you? And I go, I was like, I don't know. I should probably have an answer. And then I'm like, that's kind of why I'm doing the podcast. Because I'm discovering all of these aspects of everyone that I want to be like, right?
Who I
but
want to
this
be
could
like
be someone in
now.
your life. It could be a celebrity. It could be whoever you'd like.
Okay, wait. If I give you a really like frou-frou bullshit answer, are you going to get angry at me?
No, do it.
I have always wanted to be a working professional in the theater.
Yeah.
And I am a working professional in the theater. So I'm kind of happy with who I am now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had like virtues of other people, like maybe somebody's
course.
patience or somebody's
Of course.
kindness. I would
Right.
love that. But overall, like, I'm pretty happy with me.
Yeah. I love it. I'll take it.
Most people aren't happy with me, but I'm happy with me. And that's all that
And
matters.
that's enough.
And that's enough.
Hey, thank you so much for doing
you
this.
kidding?
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
Go read, go get Queer Musicals, and just you wait for J2's season next year. I'm so excited.
Thanks, man.
Thank
And
you.
if anybody wants to watch Frozen, hit me up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right. He needs to check it out.
Gotta check it out.
I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Christian Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes, Kirsten Blue Kaiser, and of course, Rob W. Schneider.